Just warning you.
Okay. I said, Jenny, I said, would you want,
This conference will now
would
be
you
recorded.
want somebody at the ambulance department making $13 an hour working on you? Or would you want somebody at McDonald's making $15 an hour making your hamburgers?
Yeah. Good analogy.
We'll begin with the flag salute.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good afternoon. We welcome everyone to the 2023 revenue neutral rate public hearing for the 2023 Marion County budget. We do have a quorum of the commission present. We do not have any members of the public present to speak. And I don't think there was anyone online that would be speaking
No.
to the revenue issue. We do have a resolution prepared for exceeding the revenue neutral rate. It would be resolution 2022-23.
Yes.
And in summary, basically, it is mill levy will be at 71.266 mils.
Well, that's the revenue neutral rate, and
Okay.
so we're exceeding that.
Okay.
So the resolution states that Marion County has found it necessary to exceed the 71.
Thank you.
Yes.
Any questions or comments? If not, I'd move approval of resolution 2022-23.
Second.
And this needs to be by roll call vote, please.
Okay, very good. We have a second by Commissioner Dahlke. Any further discussion? If not, we'll do a roll call vote. Commissioner Dahlke?
Aye.
Commissioner Crowfoot?
Aye.
Commissioner Becker?
Aye.
Commissioner Mueller? Aye. So it'd be 4-0. Very good.
Okay. And then I've got the official one for you to sign.
Good afternoon. I start to say good morning.
A lot of years we said good morning.
Yeah, absolutely.
Welcome. Hello. Okay, there's the signed resolution.
Thank you.
With that, we can close.
The revenue
Revenue
neutral
neutral
rate
rate?
hearing,
Right.
yes.
Now we're ready to move into the budget hearing. This would be the 2023 Marion County Budget Public Hearing. Any members of the public? There are no members of the public here to speak. I don't see anyone online that would speak to it. Scott Lloyd is with us. Since you made such a long drive, are there any comments you would like to make?
No, I'm just glad I'm here in person. Last time I couldn't even get the thing to work and I wasn't feeling very good. And, oh, goodness.
Days like that.
Yeah. No, I don't have any comments. I will say Tina and her staff did an excellent job. Tina went through it after I'd kind of got done and made a lot of notes that I wouldn't know about because they're daily operational type notes. And that really makes a lot of difference when you have someone that can, that's inside like that and can look over the details like that. So I really appreciate that. Two of the other 4 counties, they're first year clerks and they've never, it's like, I mean, I'm not beating on, I'm just saying
No,
it's a lot of difference.
A lot of learning.
Yeah, there's a lot of learning, yeah.
Yes.
Didn't know why they did that.
Huh?
They didn't know why they did that.
Yeah. Anyway, I don't have any other comments unless you have questions.
Any questions? We certainly appreciate your help in bringing this all together.
Sure,
Again, the
absolutely.
teamwork with you, Tina, and her staff, and your staff has been great to get us to this point.
Joy doing it?
Very good.
Yeah. Something that started a firm at 61.
We're blessed to have someone that knows our county as well as Scott does.
Well, thank you.
If you have any methods or process to bring in additional revenue, that would help also.
Yeah, that's a question in all counties. That was one of the conversations we had at Pratt, is to keep the mill levy as flat as possible, and what other types of revenues, can you bring in? Now, they've done, I don't remember what your total is here for like the wind farms, but theirs is, this year's 1.5 million, next year will be I think it's next year will be 1.6 million. And it's the largest one I've worked with that has wind farms. But their road and bridge department's nothing like yours. I mean, it's so much less, because there's just no bridges hardly, there's
Makes a big
a
difference.
lot of the roads are
Sand.
sand. So, just, that's the thing I've learned, and even with ARPA, we're doing, I think we're working with 22 counties now, the 105. And you just see so many differences between, between each of the counties and how they handle it. But you've got a great operation, I've worked with this forever, but you got a great operation here. And any operation, it's gonna take challenges to keep it going. And that's why I challenged the two people that are all fired up. I said, you're older like me. I said, how much time are you spending pouring into the younger generation that's gonna take over the next line of businesses, the bank, all those things. I mean, those are things that just gotta keep coming. And I think we're kind of at a crossroads in all governments right now of, well, that's the government's job. Yeah.
We've heard that for so many years.
Yeah, and when you start hearing the government say they're the reason for the economy either booming or, no, that's not true. And so that, I don't know, it was a good conversation, and I applaud you all for,
And just to clarify for those online, this is a previous budget hearing you attended.
Yeah, it was in Pratt County, I'll say that, because I don't think they've minded.
Right. Commissioner Dodd?
You just said something that I'd just like to ask, and you work in 2 or 3 different counties that has a wind farm input into the mill money coming in.
Yeah.
Have they set any general goals for that money? Have they put a budget on that money? What are they spending just where they want in general?
Well, this one, Pratt, that I've worked with, they're already, they're farther along than you were. I don't know, they may have been one of the first counties probably that had it. But they decided that they wanted to use debt. And so what they did is it's like a new EMS, emergency management, ambulance, all that, and they built it out the edge of town. That's what one of the people got really fired up about, because it was done by the prior commission, or one of the prior commissioners, and he was so gung-ho about it. And both of them were against it so much. They were farmers, because they felt like it was locking the wind farm money down for 7 years, and it's a big number. I forget. They're using up about 1/3 every year, or 1/4 every year to pay for that building. And it's probably got like five departments in it, something like that, And they build it out the edge of town, which, I don't know all the reasons. This is the first time.
Right.
But that was the question the guy had is, well, when it gets done in 7 years, are we gonna use this to help the county not build a building, but to help the county, use that money to, help with the mill levy, help with maybe salaries to retain people, but right now, it all goes into the capital improvements, the way they've got it set up. And what I'll be working with them next on is, they have a very large equipment reserve fund also, 1.7 million in it. That's a small county to have a 1.7 million equipment reserve, but it's really interesting. It's not assigned, it's not equal across all the departments. One department will have money in there and one won't. And I asked them, I said, well, our policy's pretty loose, so we're gonna be working on But we're gonna be working on, that's a lot of what you see, and you've done a good job here of making sure, all that's a little tighter. But there, between capital improvement and equipment reserve, they've got about, probably about $5 million, $6 million. And so we're gonna go in and get the policies all updated, we're gonna get the, cause at 1.5 million a year, just for their wind farm. It's been coming in since 2015 that way, or 16, so, and they hadn't really spent it until they built this building.
Wow.
But yeah, you see each, some shoot from the hip.
Yeah.
And some have the details of how things should operate, not to the point you're micromanaging people.
No.
Because I've got another county that's that way. One of the commissioners is, I guess I can say that on here. One of the commissioners looked at the other one and said, "You're not the county administrator." And so that's the fine balance you have between being a county commissioner or thinking you're a county administrator. And I looked right at her, and about the third meeting I was up there, and I said, "I don't know if you know what you're doing here, but you're biting off a lot more than you should be doing here, because you're putting yourself in a very risky position." And there's 4 people in there that go with that commissioner, and they run the, it's a.
There isn't a person on this commission that has the ability
Yeah.
to manage a department in the county.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just, so you just see all, I mean, and it just, I can see now why, there's nothing wrong with it. I see why now when you get however many up in Washington, doing the different things. Anyway, I'll shut up, but that's the main,
Thank you
that's,
for-
that's the
'cause
main.
I just feel that somewhere should be put out to what we're gonna do with it.
Uh-huh.
And make it to the best of availability of use for it.
Well, we've talked about that here a lot. When you can be transparent, and that's what I told, you may have the money sitting in the capital improvement equipment reserve, but does anybody in the county know what
Couldn't
your
do
plans
that.
are?
Yeah.
And they go, no. And they go, we don't even know if the department heads, know that.
Yeah.
What are our plans? So that's the whole thing here. No matter what money sources you got coming in, the more transparent you can be with those kind of things. Even Old Town Galva, I said, all you gotta do is fill out this one sheet. Here's the money. You've got about, I don't know what it is, 800,000 of capital improvement, and here's how we're gonna spend it over the next 5 years. And because they've got 24 months of cash carryover. They can operate their budget for 2 years without levying money.
What a problem.
Because Wayne Ford, the mayor for 43 years, he's the longest running mayor in the whole United States. He just didn't want to, overspend, and he did an awesome job. All the streets are concrete now. 26 years, that's why I told him, you have to have a vision. 26 years down the road, and he had that vision, and the last block, he built it with his own personal funds. He paid the last block when he had his kidney failure, and to make sure it all got done. Anyway, but that's vision is,
Yeah.
That's just, and transparency, I think that's 2 things that, that when you see a county or a city that has that, or a government, any kind of government.
But I can see sitting here that we went along as a 3-member commission, floating along, going this way, and then,
Yeah.
then all of a sudden, one commissioner comes in and
Yeah.
change directions. You don't want to do that no more. It's just what it is, and so it's not bad to have somebody come and, if they're sensible.
That's right.
About changing.
Different viewpoints, that's right.
Viewpoints,
Yeah.
correct.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, just like
along
the-
that same line, you still need to be investing for the future. Like
Yes.
you're saying.
Yeah.
You can't just quit
Yeah.
spending, and
Yeah.
just like the whole idea of being revenue neutral. Okay, we're supposed to be revenue neutral, but yet our expenses are up
Yes,
10%.
Absolutely.
So if we're revenue neutral, we have to cut
Yeah.
services by 10%.
Yeah.
You can't continue to provide the level of services.
You've heard the conversation here, because I've worked with you for so many years, they never heard it down there, but I just looked at one guy and I said, okay, if you've got $5,000 in cash in your personal bank account, and you're only bringing in 4,000, in your job, and you've got some extra expenditures, 10% that come in, how you gonna pay for it? If you don't raise the mill levy, in this situation, until you have a workable plan. And I got done as walking out, he goes, oh, I love that analogy about personal. I said, the only reason I went there is because most people don't understand government, but they do understand their house, you know, and how, you know, things work in the 3 to 6 months and all that. So, yeah, it's, you guys but it's something you can't stop. You know, you can't stop doing what you're doing.
All right, we'll come back to the budget. Any specific questions, issues, discussion? If not, I'd move to approve the official budget for Marion County for 2023 as presented. Second by Commissioner Becker. Any other discussion? Is this another roll call?
I don't believe it has to be, but
Okay.
you're welcome to do it that way.
Let's do it that way.
Okay.
We did it once. Commissioner Dahlke?
Aye.
Commissioner Profit?
Aye.
Commissioner Becker?
Aye.
And Commissioner Mueller is aye. 4-0.
Okay, and then here's the official copy for you to sign on the front, on those little tiny lines.
Don't look at it.
Well, I appreciate the opportunity to serve you in so many different ways and continue that opportunity. I enjoy working with you. And, you know, I don't know if Tina told you, but I don't know if you talked to him about it. Yeah. So some of you know Al Votes Park. That'd be my brother-in-law. He passed away this morning at 9:37.
Oh, good, sorry to hear that.
He had a massive heart attack on Thursday morning. It took 15 minutes to revive him. Well, that's
Yeah,
not
that's
gonna
too
work.
long.
Yeah, it's too long. And they've just been trying to see what, I mean, not ruling out a miracle from God. But last night they decided to put him on hospice, and so he made it till this morning. But I knew some of you probably would know him.
Very well.
And he's my wife's brother. And it's just shocking because I literally knew him before I did my wife because we played baseball and basketball at Tabor together. And he's 62, I'm 62, I'm 61. And I mean,
Puts your life into perspective.
it does. These budgets and all that stuff, that conversation I had the conversation, but I'm not gonna get all fired up about it because, you know, it's life is life. And after 4 days of this, what's been going on here,
He's been involved with Tabor from the get-go with the construction.
That's where I just met him last year, him personally, he was over there, he was doing some concrete work over there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
so it's got everybody kind of shocked.
We have our sympathy.
Yeah, thank you.
It's a difficult time.
We live every day.
Absolutely.
Go ahead and do it. Don't put it off.
That's right. Amen. Well, if you don't
Well,
need any
thanks for
more.
coming.
It was made up, balanced out with Pratt and an hour and 15 there and a little shorter here.
Yeah, you know, and you guys know this, but another thing they did is you have to watch what you tell your budget preparer. So for 7 years, the previous commission said, yeah, keep the mill levy at 52. And they'd had the mill levy since 2015 at 52, okay? Well, and let me say, I don't even know how you compare. Well, they're 193 million, and yours is 168. But what happened is, the commission didn't understand when they say that the budget preparer is gonna do anything they can to keep it at 52, okay? So they had situations where no levies in some of the funds, and they used all the cash up. So that's why we had to levy 6 mills, just to get everything somewhat back. So that's like probably a 7-year levy, and you know, and I try to explain that to people, and you all understand that. But when someone just comes in and they say, oh, yeah, keep the mill levy the same, well, then I told them, you tell me you want me to keep it 52, I can get it to 52.
You won't like it.
Yeah, your equipment reserve and your capital improvement will be hit pretty hard, but yeah.
Wow.
Okay, anything else?
Thank you, Scott.
Thank you,
Yeah,
Scott.
thank you, and sorry I couldn't be in person that last meeting. And
We wouldn't
technology.
have wanted you here.
No, you wouldn't have. I think I didn't go to test it, but I think I did, yeah.
And our
Because there's so
thoughts-
much.
Our thoughts will be with you and your family.
Yeah.
That's shock.
Yeah, it is. It's makes reality kind
Yes.
of check, make sure you're alive.
Drive carefully.
Yep, okay,
Yes.
see y'all, have a
Thank
great
you.
day. Yep.
I do have the district court budget.
Mhm.
So you might remember they have 3 separate budgets, and the commission chairman's signature has to be on all of them. Usually we have you take action to approve the Marion County budget, but you sign them all. There's the Marion County one, which is the first tab, then there's the district budget, which is the second tab, and the third tab is the, wait, I have that wrong, sorry. The second tab is the court trustees budget.
Do we need action on all 3?
I think if you just take action on the Marion County one, but that fits into the other, the third, the district
Sure.
budget. And the court trustees budget is the one, is the second one here, and it's the one that's completely self-sufficient. So. But it does ask for the chairman's signature on all 3.
Any questions on the 8th judicial district allocation?
So that first tab is the Marion County one.
And I would move to approve the Marion County allocation approval for the 8th judicial district.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Dalkey. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Motion carried 4-0. Okay.
Thank you.
Anything else for the budget hearing?
No.
If not, I hereby close the budget hearing. And we'll begin our Marion County Commission meeting. Any public comments? There's no one in the room. Didn't see anyone online.
No.
Okay. Agenda approval. Kent, you had asked for an executive
Yeah.
session?
Executive session, personnel performance.
Okay, we'll do that, Tina. Tina, did you?
I do need one for personnel
Okay.
performance. It can be during administrative time or at another time.
Okay.
The county attorney has asked to be added to the end if
Okay.
we're still going when they're out of court.
All right.
And we'll need one for potential litigation as well.
Okay. Okay, we'll see if we have a little time in administrative, we might still go in, otherwise we'll hold all of ours at the
Which
end.
would be out the window.
With that, I guess we got our agenda in place. We'll begin with administrative business.
Oops, I didn't do this right, that's okay. Okay, I do have the minutes of September 6th.
Commission has had a chance to review the September 6th minutes. Any additions or corrections? If not, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Commissioner Crowfoot.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Becker. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion carried 4-0.
We do have early checks for today in the amount of $8,569.28.
Any questions on the early checks? If not, is there a motion to approve early checks in the amount of $8,569.28? Commissioner Becker, second by Commissioner Dalkey. Good discussion. If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried 4-0.
Okay, on payday, we did have a correction. The amount that you approved was overstated by $578.29 because we had a credit from Capers correcting an error from 2 years ago. And they won't issue us a check, they just make you do it as a credit, and it messes up our bookkeeping every time. So I just wanted to present a revised grand total payday of $1,129,574.22. So that, I just wanted to make you aware of that.
Okay.
Need a motion for that?
Do we need?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
I'd make that motion to approve the numbers that she gave, which I believe is $1,129,574.22.
Yes.
Okay, Commissioner Dalkey made the motion to approve the correction. Is there a second? Commissioner Becker, second. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, say nay. Motion carried 4-0.
Thank you. Okay, last week, I had asked if you had anyone that you wanted me to appoint to be a witness for ballot destruction, and you did not. We did ask Susan Berg and Jan Helmer, and they both have agreed, and this is to occur tomorrow morning, whenever the truck gets here. So just wanted to let you know. So I would ask for official action of the board to appoint these individuals.
I would move to appoint Susan Berg and Jan Helmer to witness ballot destruction pursuant to KSA's 25-2708.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Crowfoot. Discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion carried 4-0. We appreciate her. Is that, did I miss something?
No, I just only heard one person vote.
Is this shred proof or shred, what is it?
Shredded. Well,
Shredded.
it's what it used to be called. Now it's called Stericycle.
Okay.
Yes, they'll bring the big truck tomorrow, so.
We
And
appreciate
just to
her.
clarify, this is for the 2020 general elections.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Oh, I think I gave you a preliminary agenda for the
Yes,
KAC
yes.
conference. I did reserve rooms for you at the conference hotel, so I just wanted to verify how many of you actually want me to register you for the conference and whether you're registering for the full conference. And if you just let me know soon, that would be great, so I can get that done.
Even if you're there just for part of it, you have to pay for the whole thing.
They have it, like a 1 day, I think, or. They have a separate rate if you're just gonna go to like for me, usually I just go to the county clerk's meeting, and that's like $75 just to go to the one meeting.
We would have to move our commission meeting date, because it
Yes.
starts on Monday.
I think so.
Yes.
I think on the 17th.
It's right away just now, isn't it?
Pardon me?
October's right away, isn't it?
Yeah, it's coming up. It'll be here before you know it.
Blink of an eye.
So, if you wanna let me know
Will
maybe
do.
by next week, then I can get those registrations in. Okay.
Very good, thank you.
Okay. Let's see. I do have one salary change. It's
Okay.
actually a new hire.
Okay, in Road and Bridge, we have a new hire, Jared McLendon, starting at $25.36, effective 9/6, new equipment operator 1.
Yeah. And that's a month, not an hour, just to clarify,
Yes.
$2,536.
Yes. Thank you, because that's the way I read it, it didn't sound very good.
state meetings, just 3 days, just a long time. You need to shorten it somehow.
I was thinking last year.
No,
Really, they're one
we
night.
didn't, you know, you could say 2 nights.
Yeah.
There wasn't much going on the third day.
Okay.
When all the county people come. Say that, I mean,
All the association meetings.
Okay. I wanted to discuss with you if you want to seek proposals for auditing. You might remember we did an RFP in 2017. It was a 3-year contract that was awarded to Barney, and then you did a 1-year extension with them for the 2021 fiscal year. And so we do not have current budget, or excuse me, audit contract in place for the 2022 year. And I wasn't sure if you want to seek proposals for that, or if you want me to reach out to the current firm for.
I'd be in favor of seeking
I think
new proposal bids, whatever.
I would agree to do an RFP. Is there any opposition to seeking an RFP from the auditor?
Okay.
Let's proceed with that.
Okay, I have the one that we did before, so I'll just probably adapt that and bring it to you for approval.
Good.
Okay,
Excellent.
all right. And other than the executive session that I need, that's all the administrative business that I have today.
All right. How long would you like?
I think I only need 5 minutes.
Okay, we've got time now. That'd be all right? Yeah. Let's see, if Kristen's here early, we bring her in. I move that we recess an executive session in order to discuss personnel performance. Pursuant to KSA 75-4319B, item 1, personnel matters, non-elected personnel performance with Commission Brad and Tina for 5 minutes from 1:03 to 1:08. Second by Commissioner Becker. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion carried 4-0. We'll be back at 1:08.
The light's still on? It didn't-
Yes, it is. It's popping up.
This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, we are out of executive session. No decisions made. Krista happened to be?
Yes, she's
Yes,
here.
she's
Oh,
there.
excellent.
Sitting there.
Hey, Krista,
Hi.
come on in. Good to see you.
Waiting for good news.
Well, I've got some good news for you.
Some good news. Oh, okay.
got news, huh?
Got news.
Pass this one around
Okay.
first.
Yes. Yeah. I'll let you do the rest of it.
So Jess in our office has been hard at work scheduling our outreach flu clinics, so we have those on the calendar now, and so we've got a copy of those. Also, we've got flu shot scheduled for county employees at the courthouse on Tuesday, October 25th, from 2:30 to 3:30. If employees are wanting their flu shot prior to that, they can always come to the health department and have an appointment there. Make sure people bring their insurance card if they have insurance. And we also get 317 vaccine from the state, which means we can give that vaccine for just the administration fee of $20 to people who don't have insurance.
Well, it looks like a good list, really getting
Yeah.
around the county.
Yep,
Appreciate that. It makes it very convenient for people.
I know that she reached out to other communities that we haven't historically done in the past, and hopefully in the years to come, we'll get some bites on that.
Good. Excellent.
The next item of business is we are getting our bivalent vaccine. It's supposed to be here this week, so we're scheduling next week. So that's the COVID vaccine, Pfizer and Moderna. Pfizer is ages 12 and up. They have to have had their primary series and been at least 2 months out from it. Moderna is ages 18 and up. And that's to help protect against the Omicron variants BA4 and BA5. ones currently circulating.
Okay.
Next, I've got more packets of information to pass around. And I don't expect you all to look at all of those slides today, but we'll kind of hit the high points.
So that Jonah to pass things.
So on August 23rd, I attended the Working Well Conference. It's the 17th annual Working Well Conference. It's put on by United Healthcare and Blue Cross Blue Shield of Kansas. It's in Wichita. And they have some really good points. And it kind of came to my mind that we need to strengthen our own county's employee wellness programs. I know currently we have an employee assistance program. You know, the county providing the flu shots for employees that don't have insurance is huge. You know, helping to get them vaccinated, but there's some other things I think that we could be doing. So my main objective with this is I'd like to have the approval of a formation of an occupational is what it should say, wellness committee that would consist of myself, Sherry Miller with HR, at least one county commissioner, one department head, some kind of legal counsel, and at least one or more county employees. Working Well Kansas, or Work Well Kansas is through KU. It's a grant-funded group. They can help you write policies for your employee wellness programs. They can help you with next steps, employee surveys. So I wanted to hit the high points from it. These slides that I took are not slides of my own. They were actually from the conference, but they were the ones that I thought were really well written. So on that second page, it says nobody is well. This is fine while there's a fire going around this dog here. The slide after that talks about what wellness is in your workplace. So goals of a wellness program or occupational health program is what it's more traditionally called, are attraction and retention of employees, increased productivity, increased happiness and engagement of employees, less absenteeism, more presenteeism. I don't know if you've all heard of quiet quitting, where people are here but they're really not present. They're just ready to get out of here. Less healthcare costs on the company and less risk of the employer. So the intent of this initiative is so healthy behavior is easy. We want to make it accessible to our employees. We want to make it easy for everybody that works here, and eventually the whole county. We get something like that on board. So Work Well Kansas, which is the grant-funded group that helps you for free, they say that they like to start with one attribute of wellness, whether that be physical activity, food and beverage, tobacco, or well-being, and then they move on from there. So they help you with your organization's environment, policy, benefit design, program, and information to the employees. So these fun facts here I thought were very interesting. I had never heard of 3-4-80, but 3-4-80 is, there are 3 risk factors, so tobacco, poor nutrition, and physical inactivity that contribute to 4 chronic diseases. So heart disease, type 2 diabetes, lung disease, and some cancers, which in turn contribute to approximately 80% of all deaths in the United States. The next page, there's some data on physical inactivity. The following page is tobacco. The data that I thought was most intriguing was that tobacco kills up to half of all of its users. The next slide is well-being, which I thought was very important. So this is in 2019, 64% of Americans cited work as their main source of stress. And then in 2020, 70% said that work was a significant source of stress. One of the presenters, she had presented on, she said, think about your workplaces that you've had in the past, and after 5 years of working there, how many of them would you say I'm so much more unhealthy after working here for 5 years. I think we've all been there. But what if you had a workplace that you could say, I'm so much more healthy for working here? Next one is from a different presenter, but it was still at the conference. Work culture is 10 times as significant as compensation and predicting staff turnover. And I know here, with any job, sometimes you can't always pay people what you want to pay them, but the culture is very important. There's some benefits of wellness at the work site. The next slide talks about data on return on investment. The following slides talks about survey to assessment of the employee, some of the questions that you might ask. And the following slide says, nobody is well, ask what people want, invest in their choices, which I feel is very important. And the second to the last page says benefits of wellness at the work site, which is all kind of the bottom line for us, you know, when you're in a business. So decreased healthcare costs, favorable return on investment, increased productivity, reduced absenteeism, and improved overall morale and staff retention. So it talks about the paradigm shift. Employees will change behaviors as a reflection of the changing characteristics of their work sites. Create a healthy environment and organizational health promotion. So that's kind of what I wanted to introduce to you all. And I don't know if there's any discussion, and if it would be okay, or if I could seek approval for the formation of an occupational wellness committee. And then also another next step of, you know, seeking your approval to contact Working Well. But
we spend so much of our time in this room just looking at numbers. And most of what we do is driven by numbers. So I felt this was a very good presentation on other things we could maybe do in our workplace that would have benefits to our employees.
yeah.
Long-term benefits to our employees.
Krista, when you presented, just to start with, I was gonna ask you the question on, is this where we're all gonna get up and do jumping jacks?
We could.
I have to have a little exercise session
Because-
prior.
Yeah, because there is so many companies that do that and stuff, and.
I think
and
for us dinosaurs to be stretching, maybe not jumping.
Okay.
You might do a little stretch.
If we start jumping, the meeting's over.
Yeah, but we maybe in an hour, we'll have 60 minutes, maybe we'll do a little stretching exercise.
I know that I worked at some workplaces in the past that they had very thriving employee wellness programs, probably that could do more, but I've also worked at some that were a flop.
Yeah.
You know, counting numbers, a point system, nobody wants to do that. Nobody wants to sit in front of a computer and watch videos
Yeah.
either. But I do think that there's some things you can get people more engaged on board with.
Well, and it needs to be set up right. What I'm impressed with is there is the Work Well Kansas group, which obviously is working around the state in many other situations. There's a lot of experience there that can help construct a program that would be beneficial.
I think Harvey County's doing it.
Are they?
Yeah, because,
And they can contact Lynette there, she may know.
yeah, because for 2 years or so now, they laminate the little reminders about so and so many steps and, you know, just for, not that you should do them, but here's a good idea. And they post them in the restrooms at opportune locations where you can't ignore them, and everywhere else. And then lately, I just saw them rolling through there regularly on a weekly basis with a big cart of fruit, vegetables, and stuff that they hand out to employees. So kind of that added that piece to it, it looks like on the nutrition side.
At that conference, we heard some concepts, some that seemed far-fetched, but work well at other places, and I've heard some that, of course, would be more attainable, like biometric screening. I've heard of incidences where employees maybe didn't know that they had type 2 diabetes until they had their screening, you know, that was done for free through the workplace. You know, paid activity breaks or getting discounts through gyms, if that's something, you know, if we form a committee and you would want us to look at or would like me to look at. I know that there's gyms in our county. You know.
So are you looking at this committee meeting during work time, after time?
I
after
would
hours?
like to see it happen during work time, just because it would be county employees. Also to kind of go along with the wellness of it.
Seems like a lot of common sense things in here. I mean, look, everything is attainable.
So is that, you say the funding's through some grant money?
For the policy writing, and they can assist you with surveys, so kind of to tell you your next steps. There's a physician at KU that she's the spearhead of the program.
And we're kind of like the leadership program maybe with this organization that oversees.
So do you think that this will work on a voluntary basis? I mean, just trying to get people involved voluntarily?
I think with
I
the
mean-
diversity of our county employees, you know, we have everywhere from road and bridge to sedentary office people, you know, where we don't get up as much from our desk. I think we will have to play it to those people's needs, you know, and offer some diversity in the program so everyone can participate. And some people may not be able to do all of the different areas, but going to a hospital or a clinic and getting a biometric screening, if that's something we deem necessary. I know that insurances often offer, I talked to Cherry this morning before I came to this meeting to kind of see, you know, see what her thoughts were on it since she handles HR. But I know that we can maybe even get premium discounts for the county, dependent on employee participation.
Yes.
We offer a free gym membership if they go at least 4 times a month. And we got 50% of our employees who are not going to the gym.
Well, that's good.
Well, they weren't that many before.
Right.
But they have to go 4 times a month.
Mm-hmm.
We're not asking daily, but,
Yeah, that's great.
so,
Well, and a lot of those programs, once you start, then you
yeah, and they
become
become more and more, yeah.
You've got to gently get the process started.
Some of these things aren't fun to get started, but you know, then you see the benefit.
Right.
Once
As I know,
you're
you had
involved.
mentioned there's a number of people in the courthouse that do daily walks.
The biggest thing
Exercise.
on these kind of things is buy-in.
Yes.
Trying to get
Yeah.
people to buy in.
Yes.
You know, you're talking about a cart full of fruit and vegetables, maybe it ought to be a cart full of balance of nature.
Yeah.
Well, different departments are different, and there's a lot of diversity. And it's and I think that's part of what works well with your plan on the formation of the committee. You have a number of different people brought together, and you should get quite a variety of input and opinions.
That would be interesting to get an employee from Road and Bridge.
Yes.
You know, what would help you at
Yes.
your job site
You have
to
to
be
be up
healthier?
there every morning at 7 o'clock passing out something,
Mhm.
because they all leave.
Yeah.
Well, I know you're right on the biometric screening because Atlas did do something. If we would go get a biometric screen, we would get $10 a month off of our insurance or something like that. I don't know exactly what it was, but this is sort of a neat plan.
Sure.
And that's something I know even at my prior workplaces, it's nothing I would have paid for out of pocket just to
Mhm.
do it. But
Right.
since the workplace paid for it and I got a reduction in my
Yeah.
premiums, I
Yeah.
was all in.
And that's what it was, yeah.
Right. And that's key is early prevention.
It might be wise to talk to Blue Cross and Blue Shield,
Mm-hmm.
saying, you think about instituting something like this.
What can you give
What
us?
kind of value does that add to what you're charging us? I mean,
Yeah.
might be nice to know right offhand.
Sure.
Like you said, $10.
And they may have some
Probably
resources too.
people, you could probably tell you what happened in other.
Yeah, because they offer all kinds of resources as
Yeah.
far as that goes, you know. It's one of those deals, you look on your phone, oh, there's a resource, doesn't mean you use it.
And some of the kind of thinking outside of the box type things, you know, you have a concrete data, but asking employees, are your needs being met? What would make you feel more supported? What would add stability to your job? What does health and wellness mean to you? Or what could we do to help you? And not that you have to do those things, but getting their feedback.
Well, and that would go toward the one of being heard. or
Yes.
Being seen.
Yes.
Having input and then seeing the result.
And I like their slides that they use just because they did, they have cited information.
Mhm.
Here are your numbers. This is what a wellness program can do for you.
I would recommend moving forward on this.
You wanna serve on the committee?
Okay? Wouldn't hurt me. Be hungry.
He'll come back with the recommendations for us. Would you like to make that a formal
I
motion?
should make that motion.
Okay, a motion by Commissioner Crowfoot
Proceed
to
to look into it.
allow Krista to move forward with the formation of an occupational wellness committee with the structure that you presented. I think that's a very good structure. I'll second the motion. Any other discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried 4-0. I think it's a great idea. Thank you, Krista.
Thank you. Well, the next item of business.
Want to go executive session on this, or?
I don't think you can.
think so.
Not unless it's personnel.
No.
It is not personnel.
If you're talking on, like, if you're gonna discuss the building, if it's, specific generalized cost estimates, it's okay. You just don't wanna share specific, like if you're gonna bid that out, you
Yeah.
don't wanna share
No.
specific bids.
Wouldn't bid off of this.
I think what you're looking at today are more generalized numbers.
Well, I did meet with a contractor regarding the building, space allocation, Commissioner Crowfoot and myself, and the contractor took a walk around the building, looked at the inside of it, the square footage of the building, and started to do some mapping based on our basic needs. I know that we had met previously as a committee when we had building committees back here starting last winter, and progressed from there. So looking at the salon building, for the health department, because of our requirements, because of having exam rooms, because of needing to be equipped for people with disabilities, the inside of the building will require a complete renovation. There was only even the potential of 3 of those rooms that could maybe be used, but then it would offset of how your space allocation. Because that building does not have any storage for a vehicle, that would require building as well. Also, it didn't have adequate storage for our materials, whether it was safe kid supplies or our flags and signage. And currently now at the health department, we have, what is the word I'm looking for, like a freight car,
Storage container.
a storage container, like a railroad car,
Shipping container.
shipping container that sits off of St. Luke's property. And so we have safe kids materials in there, and it's quite a bit of space, and when we've looked inside of it, it's pretty full as it is. So the renovation of the existing building, an estimate came to $294,400, to include a storage building, which would be housing for a vehicle, and the trailer, so the health department trailer, and storage for our supplies that don't fit in the building was $94,500. We would really like a drive-up roof. We've used the drive-up scenario frequently during COVID for shots. We continue to do testing. Patients that are unable to get out of their cars, especially the elderly, will provide the immunization at their car. Sometimes that's in the elements, whether it's snow or rain or ice. And so that drive-up roof, if it was on an access to a site where there's a door, they have that estimated at $16,800. They did say that the roof is good on the building, or looks to be good. And then the other thing we ran into, there was not going to be at all space for EM, so emergency management. I shouldn't abbreviate, is what I've learned. Or it may go in places incorrectly.
Yeah. Emergency management.
Emergency management, with that, there was not space to house them under the same roof unless an addition was added.
Right. And that was an option we had asked you to explore.
Mhm.
So that's, it's not a set in stone issue, that it was an option.
So with an addition, so the addition would be, he has listed as reading some writing here, 288,000, which came to a grand total of $693,700, which is a lot of money.
How many square feet are in that building compared to what you're in now?
So that one is 3,136 square feet is what I have off of
And
the
how
real
much is,
estate.
how much is up at the,
So right now, what we mapped out prior, we had almost 6,000 square feet. Granted, that building is not being used
With
to
the storage.
That was with the storage container. Our building is not, it wasn't designed for us originally, and so it's not great use of the space. So the other thing that we had explored, just because I asked, because I thought that's a lot of money, of what it would cost for demolition if there was an existing structure and building a whole new building, and that came to $825,000. So, in the interim, I've seen threads come through with other health departments that are kind of in the same situation. Either they're out of a building or their building's very deteriorated and it's not useful at that point.
Is there any grants available?
The one that I saw through that thread is the Sunderland grant, and I contacted Randy there at the Sunderland group that it can give grant money for new building construction in eastern Kansas. I did call because before I do any kind of grant application, which is very time consuming, I wanted to find out if we were even eligible for it.
Over in eastern Kansas.
And he said that, yes, we could go ahead and fill out an application for that.
Do we have to buy lumber from them then?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. That was kind of about as deep as I dove into that, just to see if we were eligible to apply. And I don't really, that's kind of where I'm at with, I don't know what next steps to take, or if there needs to be a lot more further discussion.
Get the addition, the last item on there, the fourth option of the 30 by 64 addition. That was for the emergency management.
That would be emergency management, and then also, when we mapped out the space allocation, there wasn't enough room for us to even have an extra office if we were to expand any kind of program. So
Okay.
it'd be putting another office in there. It would provide enough space that we could have a conference room also,
Okay.
and a break room for employees.
So really a large portion of that you still need.
If we do not have the addition,
Yeah.
we will be kind of lacking of some of the things that we,
Okay. Okay.
It wouldn't
Would
have
like
gained,
to have.
wouldn't have gained much.
yeah.
On the emergency management, like when you planned that space out, was that for 2 spaces or just one?
That was for 2 spaces,
Okay.
but, not necessarily, like, our original allocation didn't necessarily include Marcy into our, depending on where she was going to land. But the addition would cover both goals.
Taking out the addition, it gets down to a more reasonable number.
Mhm.
The importance of the addition is,
what's your funding options?
Well, I know previously we had all talked about the ARPA funds for the health department. The only other funding that I know about, that would be beyond what we're already getting would be is if I apply for that Sunderland grant. Right now, we have money from our expanding infrastructure grant through the state that can be used on interior items, so we can use it on windows, we can use it on carpet, we can use it on paint, we can use it on furniture. But that grant goes away after July. of 2023, so we don't have a ton of time to use that
How much do you
grant.
have in that grant?
I believe there's about 63,000 left in it.
Goes a long way. Krista, what about using a brick grant?
I am not aware of that.
Talk to Marcy, she's very familiar.
Okay.
Building something, infrastructure grant, and it's used by cities and counties, like right now, I think Durham and several are looking
Okay.
to put storm shelters up, but any kind of, it's, I think FEMA sponsored, and it's also usable in a lot of ways for different programs, and also infrastructure construction that would deal with emergency circumstances, health department perhaps. I really haven't looked at it that close for that reason, but their website's pretty thorough.
All right. I will get with Marcy and check into
See
that.
if I'm way off base on that. I haven't looked at it for that reason, but it's right now they're fairly well funded. So.
Okay. The other thing that, you know, just looking at these and the ideas to toss around and share with you all, like, I don't know if there is another county department that would be better suited for that building. I know that obviously we purchased it, but I also know that we're working on a timeline for the health department as well. So, lots of ideas to kind of throw around.
We have to be out of the building up there, or when?
We do not have a determined date.
So is that in stone that we need to be out of there?
Yeah,
I
the architect
have
said-
not, I've not been informed of anything being set in stone. I do know factually that St. Luke had had architects come through on 2 different occasions.
And that's our next step. We have to get an architect to draw plans so that some people could bid on it.
No, we gotta decide first what kind of budget we're gonna work with, and then
Right.
see what the architect can come up with.
Yeah, with the scope.
Otherwise, we'll be beating ourselves up. I don't know what that figure is.
Yeah, Commissioner Dahl.
I'd like to thank you for the work you've done for getting this far so far.
Thank you.
I'm gonna go back down a road that, since I've been sitting here at this commission, seems like buy something, tear it down, fix it up, costs you more, twice as much as what it does to put up new. Prime example is the transfer station. We didn't make a good choice there. My choice got voted down by 2 other commissioners, and that's fine. Like I said, that's viewpoints. But it cost us more money, and the product that we come up with, you have to have a foresight to see ahead a long ways. Now, 3 commissioners sat here and decided to buy some ground and housing and stuff, and it was mentioned at that time to put the health department in that building down there, in a new building right beside here, over here at there. So, not in stone, just that was a goal to set to go. Here we went around it. One time we went up to the hospital where you're at now and left this building, the Bowman building, alone and left it go. We decided not to try to renovate it. There's been some renovations, so I can't see where this amount of money spent here is a worthwhile cause for this commission to go after that and not build something new and have it built to the specs to start with, and not, let's try focusing on this department in a building if we was to do that. Here you're trying to focus on maybe emergency management in here, maybe this in here. It don't work. That's my 2 cents worth. Thank you.
I do have a couple, I guess, of things to add regarding the health department. Some of the feedback we've gotten has been positive, you know, with us moving to that location. That being that, you know, it's more visible to some being out on the highway. And then some of the negative feedback that we've received are, we have some patients that walk to appointments for WIC. I realize that we do serve the entire county, but but those people will no longer be able to walk out there to the health department. One of my bigger concerns would be, most people know that we do not have narcotics in the health department. The only thing that we have are vaccines, but just the safety of being out on the highway, of someone thinking that we maybe have something that is
See how-
monetarily of value.
Big concern I have is out there is crossing the highway for our people.
And that is also.
You treat a lot of the elderly people, and just like in Peabody, I met the guy that first come to Dollar General, right through here, the paper come to this office, and his promotion when we went and talked was, I'm gonna have a building here in Peabody somewhere. Well, we had some ground on the north side of Highway 50, but I strongly recommended to be on the south side of Highway 50 to stay within the city, to where people didn't have to cross the highway. That's just everyday thing, everyday driving, that things happen. We've had a lot of accidents crossing the highway in Peabody. Not quite as many up here, but there has been some. One of our county cars was in one, and then I was right in front of one happening one day, two of them that I know of for a fact, so. Yeah, it's, no matter what we do, it's probably not the perfect spot. Dave had a perfect spot not too long ago, right in the middle of town. I mean, the HRK building, that's a perfect spot if he's gonna tear it down and buy it, tear it down.
Then you still get that 693 figure.
You're back up there again.
I mean-
Mhm. Yeah.
And the one figure that he shared with me said that 800,000 was for the new building itself, so that would be
Okay.
including, vehicle storage. The 25,000 was for demolition of an existing structure, if you were to build on a site where
That's
there already was a building.
Says 250,000.
Yeah, I think it's because it's commas where the
Oh,
comma's
okay.
at, but it is 25,000.
Okay.
Well, and that's what, the numbers kind of give pause to the original plan. And it comes back to your comments are right on target, if you build new and if the price difference isn't that much different, do we take a different approach?
I mean, a lot of people do buy stuff and tear it down and start over again, which I don't understand that, but, big corporations do it all the time.
Yeah. And I do think there is probably some other departments that possibly could use that building. Your comment to that effect, I think there is, without the kind of renovation that we're looking at here.
Build walls,
Yeah.
existing walls.
But Krista has a very good point. Her department is much more specialized for that space, and we knew that going in. But with some of the things that needed to be done, it's just a little bit more intense than we anticipated.
And she wants to have some, like a nursing room right there, which you don't have now. You got some things that you can't offer service because you don't have the facilities.
Right.
And
Yeah, we're wanting to make sure wherever we're at, our goal is to have a lactation room for nursing mothers, since we are a WIC program. I have seen money available for people who are a part of supporting breastfeeding, money that we can't get because we do not have a lactation room at our health department. Having an extra office space, one of the programs that we're looking at to apply for come January is the STI testing and the family planning program. Right now, I'm just doing some research on it, talking to the head person at KDHE to see if it's something that we want to be a part of, putting my feelers out, going and shadowing some other health departments. But I do think it's something that would be of benefit that we don't offer here, that our residents are going out of county for, to McPherson County. And we would need some space for that as well.
And this is the time to do that. We're looking at relocating to another facility.
Yeah.
This is the time to prepare for that. Well, I don't see any commissioners with an immediate bright light.
you don't have a
bulb
good
going off.
answer.
But,
Well, I don't think any of us thought prior to this was gonna cost $500,000.
no, and that's.
Now we're already up pushing $750,000.
Right, well, we're getting more information.
Yeah.
We're getting closer to getting hard information. I guess what I would ask is maybe we come back and revisit it next week. Krista, if you want to give some more thought to it, commissioners give thought to it, if you want to reach out to Krista, or if you have some other ideas that come up.
And the public does.
So I've sent an email to Tina. There is a rural development loan available for rural community facilities. Again, not my wheelhouse within the USDA, but just to have that information available to you.
Did you just send it?
I just
Oh,
sent
okay.
it. Hopefully it would, yeah, literally while they were talking. That's what I sent it.
Good thing you came.
So what does this program do? This program provides affordable funding to develop essential community facilities in rural areas. An essential community facility is defined as a facility that provides an essential service to the local community for the orderly development of the community in a primarily rural area. Does not include private, commercial, or business undertakings. Eligible borrowers are public bodies,
Okay.
community-based nonprofit corporation,
Okay.
and tribes. Examples of community facilities: healthcare facilities such as hospitals, medical clinics, nursing homes, assisted living facilities, public facilities such as town halls, courthouse, community support services such as care centers. I mean, it goes on and on. But
I think we
did-
qualify.
They have any of the terms?
they are in here, but I have not read them. And again, outside of
Are
my.
they 15, 20, 25-year loans?
So there's loans and grants. Both are available through the program. It does say the program is currently open.
But it would be worth exploring.
Well, we definitely need to utilize something like that
Yes.
to make it
You
viable.
might remember we did utilize the USDA loan and grant for the radio purchase.
Right.
So there's a lot of hoops to jump through for
Yes.
that, but if it's
There's a lot of
a
paperwork.
lot, there's a lot.
And I don't think
But
that's
if
so
it's for a
much
big,
of the issue. We knew we were gonna have some financing involved. It's the figures that exploded on
Yeah.
us.
Yeah.
but if it's for a large enough project, it's worth doing all
Yes.
of that.
Oh, yeah.
That's
If it's
true.
a small project, it's.
I mean, this is a long-term thing that would fit in.
Right.
And I hate to say this, but through the years, when we do those kind of grants through the state or something like that,
Federal.
it usually affects one person in our county, that's the county clerk.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's, a lot of people get,
Yeah,
it usually
not
does.
just
so.
some.
It's on the record.
That's what I say, if it's a big project, yes.
That's why I had your email.
Yeah.
Although I need these forms.
But I appreciate you bringing that to our attention,
Yeah.
because that is, I completely forgot about that
Yeah.
program was out there.
So
And
there's
it
a
would be
rule-
a fit.
There's a rural development office down in Newton.
Yep.
So would be the direct contact.
Brad will
Thank
probably
you.
have the
Yep.
contact, there's some good information there. But let's revisit it again next week.
Okay,
For the next couple of weeks.
Well, try to get some direction.
I'll let Jimmy know, so I can
Yes.
get on the
Do
agenda.
we want more than one contractor just to look at it before we, or does it matter?
I guess until you.
Was this a local contractor?
It was.
But until you really get, like you just said a while ago, get it down on paper.
Right.
And all that stuff.
Right.
And have somebody did, it's sort of.
You really don't have an accurate number yet.
I am thankful we didn't move forward with architectural, where that would be another,
Yeah, sure.
you know, $3,000 to
Harder to
$5,000.
Oh, yeah.
What they're,
I just put it tentatively for 1:30 next
Okay.
week for 2 15-minute slots. That'd be
Good. Yeah.
Is that when everybody's, somebody said they was gonna be gone, a couple guys gonna be gone?
I'll be gone, I'll be here next week.
Okay.
I think everybody's here next week.
Okay, just check.
Now, the week after, I think.
Well,
Thank you, Chris.
Thank you.
You had good news early.
Yes.
We went to.
She told the truth, didn't
She
she?
told the truth. Just like it is. Just like it
When it comes to building it nowadays, the truth hurts.
is. Yeah, but again, it's something we don't want to rush into, we want to make.
Feel free, to reach out to anyone if you do have questions or concerns.
find
Thank
some money
you.
someplace.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Krista.
Thank you.
All right, next item on the agenda is planning and zoning, but I really don't want to start before 2 o'clock. Could we slip in an executive session on our list, so we 5 minutes? Is yours 5 minutes?
Yep.
Okay. For those that are here, sorry.
That's fine.
But we figure we got to wait until 2
That works
o'clock.
fine.
We just got comfortable.
That's a disadvantage of coming early.
When you come back in, could you sign the book?
Oh, okay, I can do that. You want this closed?
Yeah.
Yes, sir. I move we recess the executive session to discuss personnel performance pursuant to KSA 75-4319B for personnel matters, non-elected personnel performance with the commission.
Just the commission.
Just the commission for 5 minutes, 1:53 to 1:58.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Dahlke. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Motion carried 4-0. We will be back at 1:58.
This conference will now be recorded.
Wait for Westchester to show up. I guess we'll go ahead. We are out of executive session, no decisions made.
I'd like to make a motion that due to increased responsibility, we will move our county clerk's pay step from to step 8 as of the October pay period.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Becker. Is there a second? Second by Commissioner Dahlke. Any discussion? Not all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed nay. Motion carried 4-0.
So, who seconded that?
Dahlke. All right, we are ready for the planning and zoning. Sharon, if you'd like to come up.
Afternoon.
Good afternoon.
All right, I'll try to make this session as quick as possible. I know we have several things on the table still.
Okay.
From August 31st, a vacation petition. Can I pass this around? This has a highlighted section that has some text incorporated concerning the utility easement. And again, this was case PC 22-04. You
Did you change
do
it?
have that. This, if you look at this highlighted portion,
Yeah.
that's what was added.
Okay. Right.
Right.
The Commissioner Dahlke, does that address your
Yes.
concern with the
Yes.
easements for utilities?
Leaves that 50-foot open, that the, just even if they take care of it, they can't build on it. Is that correct?
That's correct. They can do certain things on it, certainly, any kind of landscaping, that sort of thing. And I guess that in some ways, you can build on it, you're just subject to some at-risk if you came through and installed a new utility line of some sort. It's kind of like a fence in those that people typically will go ahead and close their entire yard. They do that with the caveat that it can be taken down, they can certainly put it back up. Our biggest issue would be a structure that involves like a pier and beam or a concrete kind of something that would be a major issue to move.
Foundation.
Yeah.
And so the two existing structures that are there, a garage and a carport, they're encroaching slightly. I guess if a utility company needed access through those structures, then the property owners would be
The tenant is,
responsible
yeah,
for it.
we try to work through that at the time, because they're already there, but, yeah, there is that potential. The intent here, when I made the changes to it, was to recognize allowing the property owners to have the surface available generally for green space or whatever it may be, but still address the issue of that 50 feet for purposes of what was originally platted for utility purposes. We have to statutorily restrict and maintain that anyway, and so we just revitalized it basically.
Because in the case of a gas line, somebody builds a building over it, whether it's got cement or not.
Yes.
And, I mean, you created a contained space there that gas can build up in.
Yes.
And if it was on the easement when it was put in, unless the landowner got with them and paid for them to move it or something, but.
That's what I mean by working through it on those. Since they're there now, I don't know that we would necessarily be sending a letter out going, oh, guess what, you have to move it today.
Yeah.
That's not necessarily the case, but unless a line that went through there we found to be a high pressure line, and it's 100 feet, then it wouldn't be there anyway.
So do we know, is there some concrete poured over anything out there?
Well, yeah, in different places, but not on this,
Not
not
on
on this
this
location, no, no.
And so this case is a little bit unique because that utility easement was not maintained. It wasn't filed perpetually.
Yep.
It was filed with an
Sunset.
expiration.
Yep.
And it was never renewed.
And this basically, that was what I was saying earlier, and what I said the last time, we revitalized that in exchange for basically giving the entire tract surface basically for limited use or general green space and that sort of thing. Someone can feel okay about maintaining it when they sell. They've got an express right to notice that, okay, that portion has been vacated, but you do have the potential for subsurface to still be on there.
Any other questions? If not, I'd move approval of resolution 2022-24, resolution on the petition to request to vacate a portion of East Shore Road 213 east of Shot House, with the conditions listed below on utility areas. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Commissioner Crowfoot. Discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion carried.
I have one question. I own property out there, but I was never noticed on this. So I take for granted I do not need to abstain from voting.
No, you do not. The adjacent property owners in this case were notified per statute. It's not quite the same as a zoning change, so we don't have to notify within 1,000 feet.
Thank you for helping us through this. Sure.
I did hesitated.
Got all the boxes checked.
Yeah, that's your job to check.
Good job. All right, next.
Okay, the next case is PC 22-05. This is a conditional use permit request filed by Matt Meyerhoff on behalf of Melissa Ryan to establish a short-term rental property at 58 and 59 Lakeshore. Before I get too much into the weeds on that application, short-term rental properties have not before been regulated by the county in Marion. So we really didn't have any type of regulations in mind when this application was filed. We did, however, realize that there was a growing request for this type of business, and so the planning commission felt it was necessary to begin drafting some regulation. So the regulations are being drafted simultaneously along with this application. The Planning Commission is also in the process of making some text amendments to the regulations, so it kind of fell in line at the same time. And then the original application was heard on August 4th, and then it was tabled until the next meeting, which was August 25th. If you've had a chance to look at my staff report, I feel it aligns with the socio-economical goals and objectives that were set forth in our comprehensive plan. There's been a growing need for these types of short-term rentals in Marion County. Short-term lodging is pretty scarce in the county, to be quite honest, and so this may provide an opportunity to enhance that service to guests of our county. Do you want me to go through my staff report page by page, or if
I
you
don't
all
think
had a
that's
chance to
necessary.
look
We've
at
had a
it?
chance to review it. I know
Okay.
Commissioner Crowfoot was at the hearings, and we've had a chance to review the staff report.
Okay. And then there were, you saw the Planning Commission memo where at the August 25th hearing, there were some kind of proposed draft regulations that the board also discussed. Those regulations were kind of hashed out and then changed or what have you, just based on the conversations with the Planning Commission board. So you were able to see the red line of that document that was discussed at that meeting. And then there was a final motion made to recommend approval to your board, in part denying the part about the RV and camper occupation at the property.
Right.
And then approving the remainder of the short-term rental property with conditions and recommendations.
Right.
So does everyone understand what
Are there
the
questions
recommendation was?
on the conditions?
Conditions?
Because there's a number of conditions.
I'm concerned to the point that, can I use these same regulations that you're putting in place or wanting to a person that comes in a mile north of the southeast corner of the county line, and also within a mile of the northwest corner of the county line to the northeast to the southwest? What I'm getting at is, any place in this county will those regulations fit? Are they pertaining to the county lake?
Well, the intention of the Planning Commission at this point is that those would apply to any district in the unincorporated portion of the county.
Okay, that's fair enough. I just want it to be fair so that it,
Because we got some out east of town here.
well, I understand that, and there can be some more. And so when we pass some of these, I expect them somewhere else, and I mean, it's just gonna happen.
And, you know, there were some other options. The Planning Commission could have decided to recommend not regulating short-term rentals. Long-term rentals aren't regulated by the county. Anyone can rent their property out on a 30-day basis or lease, or a year lease, or what have you, without being regulated by the county.
Do we have a time limit? How
But you know, the long term, you're talking about a county resident. These are vacation type things.
Right.
And can you rent these for 6 months at a time, or are you limited to just a couple of weeks?
There was talk in the Planning Commission about 28 days or less.
Okay.
Consecutive days.
Yeah.
I don't know that they will, if that will be the ultimate verbiage that's used in the regulations, but I can definitely revisit that with the Planning Commission.
Is it okay to mention about the protest petition now? Or
Yes.
are you planning to do that later? Go ahead. So we do have a protest petition that was submitted. There were 78 property owners within 1,000 feet, and to be a valid, sufficient protest petition, you have to have 20% of the landowners, and we have 6 valid signatures. So there were 2 other signatures that were not owners within 1,000 feet, and regardless, so 20% would have been 16 signatures required, and so the petition itself is not sufficient to be a protest petition that's successfully
valid.
filed
Not
against
valid.
the project at this point. But I do have it here if you want to look at it. I did want to mention that it had been received, and did go through and check those.
But only 6 signatures is valid.
Yes. There were a total of 8 submitted, and 2 were on
Yeah.
parcels that
Right.
weren't beside the area that's allowed, or that can protest. One other detail on that, there was nothing filled in on the top of those forms either, saying exactly what they were protesting. That part wasn't completed, which it would have been required to be. But since there weren't enough valid signatures, that ended up being kind of a moot point.
I've spoke with a couple of your zoning board members and their concerns and stuff like that, so I've heard, besides the public call, I've had a few public calls. It's very interesting. Different viewpoints now. The person, if you happen to be right next to them, that's the lady that come here. You know, she had a valid concern, because she bought her place and didn't expect something like that.
I do understand the unknown part of the short-term rental. I mean, it can be a little intimidating for an adjacent property owner. You know, on the same token, that house could get rented out or sold to someone that's not a good neighbor on a full-time basis. You know, so it's just really hard to tell. I think there are valid concerns on either side of this
If the
case.
county lake had its own valid regulatory group, committee or whatever, this wouldn't even come, right?
No, it's hard.
I mean, it doesn't if it's in the city of Marion, a city of
Right.
Hillsborough,
Right. If they had an HOA or a lake association.
yeah, HOA,
Then we would not be talking about this today,
yeah.
So this doesn't affect a house in Marion.
not in the city limits.
I could rent my house
No, the
out for a
cities-
week.
That's up to, they're not in the
Cities
county's
do on their own.
jurisdiction.
Okay. Not that I want to,
It just seems like with the demographics out there now, maybe there ought to be thought for something like that.
but.
And quite honestly, most of the counties across the state of Kansas have avoided this discussion like the plague. There are not very many counties that have regulations regarding short-term rentals. I
So-
believe even Sedgwick County has stayed away from it. So,
They got lots of lakes and things, I mean.
yes.
Enforcement is a nightmare.
We're leaders, huh?
We learned something.
Any other questions for Sharon on staff report?
Your committee recommended to approve it.
Yes, planning commission recommended approval of in part and denial in part. Denial of the, sorry, let me look at the motion there.
in our resolution, it's the third whereas.
There you go. Yes. The portion of the application requesting use of camper occupancy is recommended for denial. And the remainder of the request to establish a short-term rental property at 58 and 59 Lakeshore, Marion is recommended for approval with the staff recommendations and following conditions as modified by the board. And those recommendations have been cleaned up based on those modifications.
Any other questions? Are we ready for action? Really, there's no space for public comment. Public comment was heard at the zoning, planning, and commission meetings. They've all been recorded, we've read them all.
Okay.
So I think we've got all the facts and information.
Yeah, and I do apologize, Mr. Meyerhoff is here if you have any questions for him.
I know Kent and I used to serve on the planning and zoning, so we know the rules and there's a lot of emotion involved, but the process is an attempt to take the emotion out of it and be consistent in dealing with issues across the county. Commissioner Crowfoot was actually at the hearing, so he got to hear everything firsthand.
It's something new, but it was inevitable it was gonna happen, so.
Very well. I'll move for approval of resolution number 2022-25, a resolution granting conditional use permit to establish short-term rental property at 58 and 59 Lakeshore, Marion. Included in that is, in that resolution is the denial on the use of camper occupancy and the conditions that also apply. Is there a second? Second by Commissioner Dahlke. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Motion carried 4-0. We want to thank the Planning Commission. We want to thank the people of the public for your input that we've heard over the last couple of months. We move forward. Okay. All right, next.
Case PC 22-06 is a conditional use permit request filed by Ms. Elise Harper on behalf of Judy Dyer, property owner at 6 Jerome, also at the Marion County Lake, for a part-time short-term rental. Ms. Dyer and Ms. Harper are present. This application is very similar in nature to the previous case, except for they're not requesting a camper usage on the property. It would just be a very part-time short-term rental. So their goal would be to be income neutral on the property, just rent it enough to, pay the property taxes and maintain the property. They have developed a very cool guest book that has restaurants and stores and contact information and some history about the Marion County Lake and the surrounding area. In the staff report, again, is very similar, you know, the socioeconomic goals of the comprehensive plan, this seems to fit. I don't know if you have any other questions that we haven't already discussed. Same thing, the suggested conditions were part of sort of the text, draft text amendments to the current regulations, and so those conditions are, you can see the red line where the board talked about what conditions they would like to see with the short-term rental. Brad has a question.
I didn't catch this till now, and it's just a procedural question. Who was the applicant?
The applicant was Elise Harper on behalf of her mother, Judy Dyer, the owner. They have both signed the application.
Oh, both have?
Yes,
Okay, never mind.
Ms. Harper is acting as the agent.
Yeah, yeah, the standing issue is what I was getting to in
Yes.
terms of an owner, okay.
Yes.
Very good. Any questions?
Some history on it. This is just a very small one bedroom, so there's very likely there'll be a big party there.
Well,
I am intrigued by the
Not
director.
limited, is it limited to 8?
I think the parking's a problem too. Good news, bad news.
Very good. Any other questions?
And I guess this was also noted during the public hearing that the property owner to the north is in favor of their endeavors, and the property to the south is currently a vacant property, so.
Well, somebody owns it, but nobody's ever there. And I
Right.
tried to contact them, because they live in Wichita, but they never answered. Been vacant, far as anybody being there for 6 or 7 years.
Maybe they'd be
That's what you call an investment property.
I tried to get
Lose
them
money on that
to, I
one.
tried to get them to.
You looked at it, huh?
You can barely see it because of all the trees growing up around it now.
I think the squirrels have pretty good access to it too.
They do, it's bad.
It has some residents.
Yeah.
Okay, it's already occupied.
Well, and you know, this really is a good opportunity for some people, because that additional income and the desire to want to keep the property looking nice. If they're not residents of the Marion County Lake, it gives an additional opportunity to keep those properties cleaned up and maintained.
Absolutely. All right, well, I would move for approval of resolution number 2022-26, a resolution granting a conditional use permit to establish part-time short-term rental property at 6 Jerome, Marion, Kansas, with the conditions attached. Second by Commissioner Becker. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion carried. We appreciate what you're trying to do at the lake. I hope it's, let other people share.
Just for the record, I live just down the block, quarter of a mile. You can put an Airbnb next to me, behind me, anywhere you want to, anytime. Just for the same reasons that Sharon gave, because these people are gonna keep up their properties.
Yeah.
So, and there's, we have some places that ought to be
Hey,
converted.
you got some neighbors who don't keep it.
And I guess that just astounds me because it's so beautiful. I mean, why would you want a property there and not maintain it?
I agree.
We had heard the one that's vacant next to us, that it was a fishing house between 2 men, and one of the wives got angry.
Oh.
So you cannot go back there anymore, and so it's been there, I think Mom said 10 years. So for sure, no one's been there in 10 years. We locked the door because we had very high dollar equipment in there. So we were concerned it might.
He never even came back and got his rod and reel.
No.
Wow.
Well, even, because it's not quite finished, they were remodeling it, so. prior to this.
Sounds like it may need another remodel.
They need to hold it.
Yeah.
Well, very good. We thank the applicants for all coming in today. Appreciate your patience with the process, but we go through the process where everybody's voices are heard. And we wish you luck.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks.
You guys aren't free of me, I'm here through Bryce.
Oh, my God. Okay.
That's fine.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it.
Have a separate back. I just have an update. If you could take one of those and pass it around, please. Well, it's requested that I bring a wind project update to the board. So I'll hit some highlights on this update that was provided by Orsted for the Sunflower Wind construction status summary. The access roads are 100% complete. Those are the roads that connect from the county road to the turbine sites.
They all got gravel on them?
They are all,
This man?
yeah, they're all
Blade.
stabilized, or, these are the roads that are on private property.
Yeah.
Yes, yes,
They're everywhere.
yes, they are. They've done quite a bit of culvert work. They're working on some approaches and modifying intersections. The turbine foundations, the excavations are 70% complete. Foundations that are backfilled are 43% complete. And then various stages in between, mud mats, the cage installations, rebar, and then the bases being poured are at various stages.
They are really moving.
They are moving quickly, that's right.
They've had good weather.
Oh, it's
Good weather.
They have. I don't think they've got rained out a day. I don't think.
Not since, at least since they started.
I was gonna say, early in the project, they got quite a bit of rain.
Yeah.
We were kind of blaming them for rain.
Yeah.
But yes, things have definitely dried out. That mag chloride is worth its weight in gold right now
Oh, like
on the
that.
roads.
Yep.
So the turbine component deliveries are estimated to begin on October 3rd. That's coming up very quickly. And they expect to have 5 to 8 components delivered every week.
So where are they going, up there or in town?
Those will be delivered to the site. The estimated turbine erection will begin on October 5th. So in a very short while, you will start seeing turbines going up in the air.
Okay.
And they plan to begin kind of in the southwest corner of the project. They'll have 2 cranes working towards the northeast.
We know those turbines coming from overseas.
I would imagine they're GE turbines. They're the 2.82
I'm just
megawatt
wondering about
turbines.
the way things are moving now with our.
That's their issue. But
Right.
they're saying their estimated deliveries to start October 3rd. They're probably already domestic.
Go in the boat somewhere, sit on the ground.
Yeah, I have no idea. I would assume they're stateside already if they're expecting to have those deliveries on the 3rd.
That's good.
I have a question on intersection modifications. Did they have to file any paperwork with you, with the landowners, if they modified an intersection?
So the intersections would be on public road rights of way. And the county had approved those during that CUP approval process.
Right. But they're widening some out the way I understand it. I have not seen this, but I had a complaint.
The radius on the corners.
The radius,
Mhm.
and that was going through private property now. But I also know that that family has 2 or 3 people that think they run that quarter section or so. So I don't know just who has the name on the title.
Send the sheriff.
You know, and I'm just wondering if they're gonna make a wider radius around there. they surely should have to have some sort of written agreement with the landowner to take their fence down and stuff like that, I would think.
If the contracts look like they have in the past, it does have that provision in it for them to be able to utilize private property to facilitate installation, and that includes things like those widening of the radius. As to the county, we already approved that, and they should have already in those agreements had that in place. Whether they notify the landowner or not, I don't know. Again, it's part of what their contract says. Yeah, I've looked at it.
Now, the other
before.
thing is, from experience, is you deal with, and depending on who their liaison is, you deal with the landowner, because that's who has to sign it.
Yes.
Okay.
Sometimes tenants get, you
Right.
know, in our case, we always worked really hard to make sure the tenants were involved in the process.
Yeah, right.
But the ultimate decision or approval comes down to the landowner.
Okay.
Yep.
So, well, that's what I'm told this one owner, and they said, well, we'll see. So I'm just asking the question, because I want to make sure.
And if you'd like to get that information to me at some point, I can look into it more if you'd like.
I think, I told them, I said, they have to deal with whose ever name's on that title.
Right.
To me.
Consider the source, huh?
That's what you're saying, yeah.
That's right.
I don't care who you, whether you're the son or the daughter or what you are, but,
It all runs downhill. Tenant ultimately has to deal with the landowner because that's your lessor.
Yeah.
And they don't always necessarily think that through completely in terms of crop damage or change of water flow or a lot of that kind of stuff. I've gotten those phone calls repeatedly.
yeah. No, I'm fine with it. I didn't know whether they had to file that with you too or not.
Some of those easements on private property, I don't necessarily have a copy of. We have to have certain things, not all things.
Technically, they should have, in terms of protecting themselves, filed them a record with the Register of Deeds.
Yes.
I've not looked at this project.
Yeah.
That one I did, and they did ultimately follow through and do all of that. If they haven't done it here, they still can. It's not like they're precluded.
No, we ended up with, up there on your project up north, Dave, we ended up with some of the people wanting the radiuses left.
Yes.
Yes.
And we
And
really.
The commission at that time said no.
Mhm.
Well, no, we didn't. It just is if the landowner was okay with it.
The landowner wanted those radiuses.
Yeah.
They didn't want them left the full, you know.
They're
Hundred
just
feet.
wider
But
than
at
they
least,
were.
you know, at least not go by 1900 standards for
Yeah.
horse and buggy.
Yeah.
At least allow for a semi to make it.
Yeah.
Well,
Now, those were denied by the county.
Yeah.
So you might want to reconsider that.
I think we should. I mean, really, if the landowners are.
The landowners agreed to it, and it doesn't interfere with the road right
Right.
away or maintenance.
Yeah,
the
or
water
the-
flow.
It makes
If
the
it's approved by the engineer.
That was one of
Correct.
the issues. Road and Bridge had an issue with that.
Yes, yes.
So it makes the
Flow,
intersection
the flow and stuff.
safer.
Yes.
It was a
Because
road
you
and
can
bridge
see-
issue that
Okay.
we probably, in hindsight, those were really nice.
Yes, they
Yeah,
were
the
very.
couple of
Especially
them.
when you think about the kind of equipment people run around with
Yes.
now.
And that was part of the problem, culvert capacity in terms
Right.
of
Correct.
weight load and what they could
Yeah,
carry.
Road and Bridge didn't like them.
So,
But but the thing was, most of them were wore down from previous use, so when they finished, they were put to new standards. So
Yep.
there was a deep ditch, you couldn't just drive across the
Right.
ditch with your semi.
Right.
So that made it impossible to get
Yeah,
to some of those
it
intersections.
might be worth consideration down the
But
road.
you're absolutely right, it does need to, the engineer needs to approve it.
Do you have any other questions?
Good job.
Okay.
Well, thank you for the update,
Thanks.
it's a lot of good information. We are really moving.
They are. You'll start to see a lot of quick progress happening. And I think they're moving along a lot more quickly than what some of our projected timelines were going to look like.
This weather they've had has just been great for them. They're working nights, pouring concrete when it's hot.
Very good.
Okay.
Thank you, Sharon.
All buttered up?
I left you 2 extra minutes. Great news.
Nope.
Wait for Bryce?
Yeah, I'll wait for Bryce. Unless you need something from me.
No, I think we're good. All right,
All right.
thank you.
See you later.
Bryce isn't actually gonna be here today. He dumped I received a lot of information to present on on his behalf, but he won't be, I don't believe he'll be here.
That's Friday.
And actually, oops.
Oops.
I've already taken the leave, so we'll hang out.
Okay, sounds funny.
It's just so
Oh
entertaining.
my goodness.
In law enforcement, we call that an utterance of excitement.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Sheriff, would you like to start?
Yeah, I can go. I'm not gonna be very long.
Oh, thank you.
I'm not sure if the county council right
He can just come by, that'd be
Oh,
fine.
he's just kind of let
Thank
it
you.
down, Jeff.
I do want to mention if you have any personnel items that are specific personnel,
We
you
will.
will want an executive for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we will.
Okay.
I did have actually.
Thank
Look
you.
at that. Look at that. When we get to dispatch 911.
Okay.
So road patrol right now, I broke this down in our 3 categories of our office. Just had a new hire today, brought him on board. His name's Presley May. He's gonna be my new patrol officer. He's actually moved to Marion County. And we had a couple applications from out of county. One was already certified, but he wanted to live in Harvey County. A lot of agencies are going to that. They're letting them live outside the county. But I chose to go with my gut and get somebody from inside the county, has a little bit more buy-in and maybe be part of our family over there. As it stands right now, we got 4 vehicles seized under asset forfeiture laws for narcotics and selling narcotics within Marion County. We're waiting for that paperwork to get done. As soon as that's done, we will put them on purple load and get rid of them. We're not a used car lot, but it'll kind of look like that way for a while. And I'm telling you, vehicle maintenance issues. These Dodge Durangos we're buying from the Highway Patrol with 49,000 miles on them, about 70,000 miles, we're seeing a lot of issues with them. Every one of them's had their air conditioner unit replaced on them. And they're about $100 an ounce for the type of AC coolant they
Because
use.
they sit idle all the time.
Yeah. We just replaced a headlight on one, and they had the new reflectors in them, and I was gonna throw up. It was $1,200 to replace a headlight.
None of that's warranted,
None of that's warranted through the Highway Patrol. You get there as is when you buy them. We're getting them for $29,000, which is a lot cheaper than we can get them anywhere else. But we're finding that our cost is bringing us right back up there after we have them, that
Cost
$100,000
of
bringing us right
ownership's
back
really high.
to where it is. We've had thermostat issues, we've been breaking thermostat housings on them. We've had, and luckily our guys have been checking them because they know this happening, and we have actually found them with the thermostat with the antifreeze in the oil. That had gas to go out on one, so we replaced it. We're gonna have to probably start looking at maybe some newer units. I do have 2 of them budgeted, I think was on that budget I gave to you earlier.
I think something that you're talking about there, Jeff, if you're getting those with 50,000 miles on them, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you're having trouble with 70,000, so 20,000 miles after you buy one, you've got an expense.
Is that
You
1
don't
year or
need-
2 years?
That's, huh?
1 year of driving?
No, no, not even that.
So it's really, it's not good. I mean,
No,
not when
it's
you're,
not.
we used to get them at 75,000, I think, but
Yeah, we used to.
the old timers we used to. And boy, before 100,000, it was 20,000 miles later using it.
Yeah, and I like the idea of getting a couple of them, especially if they change into maybe an Explorer or something along those lines. Maybe they'll change, because Dodge is getting ready to get out of their line, and they're not gonna offer them anymore. But you know, what we don't want to get into is buying a fleet of these and they all have to replace at the same time. So we're trying to stagger, we need to keep staggering maybe with some used ones, buy a couple of new ones, and just kind of rotate that way, so we're not getting hit with $200,000 worth of vehicle prices in 1 year. That's not fair to anybody out here.
Right.
The reason why I put the lake patrol and a possible patrol boat on there, and I'm gonna explain this to you. We had an issue here about a month ago. Family was left out on the lake. Our protocol was we called the Corps of Engineers to see if they'd go get them. They didn't want to go get them. We called Evan Dedeke. He was was the game warden. He was actually out on maternity leave, so he could not respond. So we paged Hillsborough Fire. They did respond with their boats, and they went and got them. I had got a call from the Corps stating that it wasn't their job to take people off the lake, and if they did take somebody off the lake, they would leave the boat anchored out there overnight. I have a huge issue with that. In my years in the Coast Guard, we towed boats all the time. It's not that hard of a deal. But if you leave one floating out there and somebody hits it,
Well, that's dangerous.
that's a liability issue. So Evan, I've talked to him a little bit, and the state actually does some programs with their boats, and we can get them at a pretty reasonable, cheap price. Some of them they'll give away to an outside agency when they're done with them. I'm looking for anything fancy, and this is just kind of to let you know kind of what I'm looking at right now. It's nothing I'm going, hey, this is what we're doing. So that's something. Changing the decals on the vehicles. I'm just going to the Star. It's simple. Getting rid of the race car stripes, getting rid of all the hoopla off the side of it. That's going to take us from $400 for every side of a vehicle to $125 total. Is all we're going to spend on decals. I don't need NASCAR drivers out here. I'm still short one canine. We retired one dog. My problem isn't getting a dog. I have the money to get the dog. Problem is finding the right handler for it. The guy that was handling the last dog, we're kind of pushing it into more of an investigative on the narcotic side of it. Kind of hit our home people, the people that are living amongst us that are doing wrong. And it's going to be pretty hard for him to let a dog respond to the road and do what I'm asking him to do. Right now, the guy's doing.
What do we have now, just one?
He's at one per shift. I'd like to have one per shift, one on the opposite shift of the other guy, so there's always one available. And I'm telling you, we're using them.
Well,
The dogs are
I'm gonna
getting
say,
deployed every night.
with the way that fentanyl meth is
Yeah.
coming across our border, these are, the ones they've been finding are huge shipments.
So the last one I actually found on the railroad was 99 kilos, and it was methamphetamines laced with fentanyl, and that actually came right through Marion County. So you'd be surprised what comes through on these streets.
It's flooding this countryside.
Yeah.
It's also a really good tool with the free sniff element of things.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, a dog is essential for something like that.
And the other thing is when I go to another dog, I'm gonna do a dual purpose dog. I'm gonna do a patrol dog, which is what I had when I was here before. Not only you're getting narcotics detection, but you're getting the tracking ability, you're getting the handler protection, and you're getting the patrol, which is the bite side of it. People get scared of the dog that bites, but a patrol dog only bites when he's done, and that is it. There's ultimate control over that dog. So that'll be coming up here if I can ever find a handler. With Presley coming on board, I'm going to be full staffed as far as my road patrol guys are right now, and they are getting the crap kicked out of them. And we were running nonstop. I worked all weekend. My undersheriff worked all weekend. 8th Judicial District, line number 7 under road patrol. They mandated us to go to e-filing. I fought that just because of the price that I thought it was going to cost us until they flashed this little deal that said state statute, you have to. I was like, well, okay, we'll do that. And we took it on, we smiled about it, and it's actually pretty easy. It's made life a little bit easier for our secretary over there.
Good.
We are going to have to purchase a scanner, a standalone scanner for that. Because I think with the amount of e-filing we have, it'll probably push us over what our use is on our other printer and scanners. And gentlemen, I met with Prairie View, and I asked them the question, what does our 90,000 get us? I got no answer in the meeting.
I agree.
I got no answer whatsoever. I told them, I said, and I hope I didn't speak wrongly for you gentlemen, but I told them that I advised them that they better come with a plan, and they better come with a cost showing what it's costing the county and why we're getting charged that for the services we're getting. As it stands right now, I got somebody that needs a competency hearing, and they're telling me maybe October. Meanwhile, they're tearing my jail up, they're hurting they're hurting other inmates, they're hurting my staff. So I guess I'm asking you guys, when they come in this
Every
year.
year they come into us with a higher rate.
Yeah.
And I, like you, have yet to see where that's very much transparency about where that money's going, how it's being used, when it's getting utilized. And now you're telling me you gotta wait on them.
Yeah, and here's the, I wanna give you another little nasty here too. So we've talked in the past about, Larned and Osawatomie State Hospitals, $15 million sitting on the floor, that's supposed to be used. So they're gonna use that 15 million, but they're gonna probably put a facility in Sedgwick County. And it will be for Sedgwick County and Sedgwick County alone, because they're gonna pony some money up into it as well.
But will that take the pressure off the others?
Not at all.
Not at all.
So we may even lose the ability to have that 15 million to help us out. I don't know. So if you're gonna talk to anybody, now's the time to start talking to your legislators. You're gonna visit with them.
Would it be worthwhile to have our legislators come in and meet with you and the commission?
I'd be more than happy to.
Would the commission be willing to do that?
Absolutely.
I just truly question what
Like
we
you
do.
said, now is the time to do it before they get started.
Yeah. Because everybody in here knows as well as I do, is once Sedgwick County ponies money into that, they're gonna fill that facility quite fast.
Oh.
And we're never gonna see it.
Right.
But some of your tax dollars will go to it. Because I'm sure they're gonna take that and put it in probably a different region, probably have a western region, you probably have an eastern region, they're probably gonna break Sedgwick County up.
Yep.
Put them in
Johnson County
central
and
region.
Sedgwick County are treated differently in that,
Yep.
or typically.
Absolutely. So I strongly would suggest that, when they come in and talk about their 90,000 or whatever crazy amount they're gonna want this time, that
Would it be worthwhile to have the legislators commission you and Prairie View in one, or would it be?
I don't
better
think
having
Prairie
some-
View, the legislators even.
There's no connection.
I don't think they,
Okay, our issue
I
with
don't see
legislators
bringing
more.
Prairie View in on it.
Okay, they're two separate issues.
Yeah.
All right, I was just trying
They
to.
don't do
You never
those
get the right person.
competencies very quickly, and they don't do the psych evaluations at all,
No.
unless it's a specific type of an order. I don't
And-
get it.
Okay.
And what I don't get is we're paying the 90,000 a year, I think it's 90,000, and I'm still paying
Yeah, you're paying your
175 every
fees up
time
front.
one of my
Yeah.
inmates need a
Right.
consult.
Yep.
Does the commission want to have a meeting with Prairie View?
That's
Instead of waiting until.
Well, we've already committed to that.
Well, I mean, we've already committed, but
I
it
think
still
the
wouldn't
next
hurt.
time that they,
I mean, you put it in the budget, but
Doesn't
you
mean
haven't
you're-
approved that allocation
Right.
yet for 2023.
There's still an ability for you to review that.
well, then it might be wise to have
I-
you with us and meet with you.
Yes.
So when I sat down and spoke with them with several other chiefs, the comment after I got in asking my questions was two sheriffs and one chief said, I don't think I even want to follow up after that question. Because that is probably the most honest question we've had sitting in this room since we've had these meetings. They don't know how to answer the question, and I think it'd be good of everybody in this room to ask those questions, have it put it on paper.
I thought we called them out here either a couple of years ago or so.
We did, but
I thought we did.
They gave us enough answer to calm us,
Okay.
calm down, but it, like the sheriff said,
I
it
was
wasn't
gonna say,
an answer.
We done got on them.
I thought you
yeah,
did,
Yes.
I thought you did, so.
But it needs to be a more stern discussion. If
Um,
commission's willing to do that, I'd ask Tina to set up a meeting with Prairie View. They could come to one of our commission meetings and the sheriff join us.
We could call a special meeting if
Or
it's,
we could
if
we
it's
need
their
to.
schedule.
But I think it warrants a special meeting.
It absolutely does, especially before we hand them a bunch of money and still have nothing.
Yes.
Because if I tell us they can't meet on Mondays, it's something they always do.
There's also other people they treat besides the
Yes.
jail people.
Sure.
You know, I
Sure.
mean, so
Absolutely.
keep that in mind.
And we got school programs for
So-
certain schools, I found out.
Yeah.
Marion's not on it.
But if
Hillsborough
you,
is.
if you break it down by what the county itself, just the county entity, not the schools, not any of the special places,
Mhm.
what they're charging us and what we're using,
Mhm.
I sat down and talked to Joel with what he's using.
Mhm.
It equivals to about $580 an hour charged to us for every dollar we spend with them.
Okay.
Do we even know who are, Marion County has some representatives to Prairie View, kind of,
I go to the.
I don't even know what they call them,
They have a quarterly meeting.
but I don't even know who they are, I don't know.
You're assigned to that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Commissioner Crowfoot.
Yeah, that's,
But I mean, my wife served on that for a few
They don't tell
years,
you
and
anything.
she got noticed for like one meeting, never heard another thing. So
Well, thank you for bringing that to our attention. We'll set up a meeting and do some more pushing.
Evan Yoder was on that, is he still on that?
Yeah,
He was the last
he didn't-
time they were
he
in
didn't
for the
come very
budget.
often.
Yeah, okay.
He's
But I don't know
busy with
since he's
school.
retired.
So our next line item in our main category of dispatch 911, I'm gonna need some executive session.
How
How
long
time's
would you
like?
10 minutes.
10 minutes.
You want me to get this?
Yes, please. Thank you. I move to recess to executive session in order to discuss personnel performance pursuant to KSA 75-4319B. Item 1, personnel matters, non-elected personnel performance with the commission, sheriff, Brad, and Tina for 10 minutes, 2:55 to 3:05.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Becker. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Motion carried 4-0. We will be back at 3:05.
Okay, let me get everything taken care of here.
Sheriff, you ready?
Cool down here.
This conference will now be recorded.
All right, we're on executive session, no decisions made. Continue with the report.
All right, last and final item is the jail. We are running at, they were averaging 11 to 12 on their population. We're averaging 20 to 21 now. And I'm trying to get it up into the 30s personally. I'm trying to prove a point. With that, we see issues, we see some of our problems inside the jail. The more people we get in there, the more issues we have with our processes, and we're learning a lot about it, but we're fixing them as we go. Donnie Stebbins was working for us. He went to Butler County, and he went there because they offered him $20 an hour. And it was a little bit closer drive for him. I afforded him a exit interview, and he really wanted to stay with us. He did. He just said, I can't. I got the money's there. It's a shorter drive for him. So we actually have a candidate. I had everybody advertise a little bit and have some applications in wait. So we're pulling an application in wait. We have a young man that's interested in coming into the jail for us. He's a local kid. We'll try him out. He's got to go. So my hiring process, anybody gets hired over there, you get interviewed by the supervisor. And when you're done interviewing by the supervisor, I build a board of people within, one from the jail, one from the road, office administrator, and then one from dispatch. And they have to stand there and interview in front of them, and those people all have a list of questions. And when it's over with, they come to Larry and I with a recommendation, and then we interview again. So that'll be the process of getting that other person hired. And Jimmy's number 4 line item is a message from Jimmy Philpott. We will be over budget in the jail. And we all know we had an individual who was set here by KVI, and his bills would cost us about $8,000 a month. So I think Jimmy said we were sitting at 132,000 with a 150-some thousand budget. So we're probably going to go over it. And that's just medical issues. The supply has gone. The cost of supplies have gone way up compared to last year.
Can we bill inmates for their medical?
In certain circumstances, yes. We can. The problem is collecting it.
Yeah.
Well, I know, but I mean, if we could collect
Yeah.
10 cents on a dollar, it'd be better than zip taxpayers paying the whole thing.
And the other thing that I wanted to say on Jimmy's behalf is, he figured his budget on his population he was averaging last year. And we're over that every day consistently now, so kind of kicking him in the dirt. So that's what I have. Does anybody have any questions for me? Hope it was formal enough for you.
Yes, very good.
Appreciate you coming over.
Yep.
Very much. That's, for some reason, we appreciate that. Well, I know the reason why we appreciate it, because we like to know what's going on with it over there too. But sometimes it just didn't happen.
Well, last time I checked, we all work for Marion County. Elected or not. That's the way I feel about it. We answer to the taxpayer, because we can't get along, they're gonna fail.
Thank you.
Well, thank you, everybody. If you have any questions, I thank you all. See that. You need anything else from me, Tina?
Nope.
All right, thank you.
All right, Tina's playing Bryce today.
I am.
Do you want to move over to the?
No. Oh, let's see. I gotta find some information. We do have the rock hauling bids, the
Yes, that was sent out.
information.
They sent those last Friday.
Commissioners should have had a chance to look at all that.
And so-
Significant differences.
Right,
On a lot of rock.
I wasn't sure, you mentioned about taking some sort of official board action.
Right.
to award that.
Commissioners, don't just feel for action that large, we should have a formal action.
Yeah.
I guess I would move to accept the rock hauling bid from JL Unruh
What's section 3
for all 12 sections.
So I'd second that.
Second by Commissioner Becker. Any discussion?
Boy, those bids were all over the place.
Yeah, that's amazing. If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried 4-0.
What? Oh, good. Okay. There was charades going in the hallway, which I couldn't get.
So you're not a winner?
No, I don't think so.
I'll be sure.
Okay, we have, let me find, there's, I believe, a road crossing permit and some fuel bids. Under all my stuff, shoot, I'm sorry. There it is. Okay, so the top item is the road crossing permit, and then this next stuff is all the
Fuel bids.
fuel bids for you all.
All right, thank you. Pass the fuel bids down while I do the road crossing. I'll have your glasses on. That is tiny. Two of them together. Oh, okay, right. We have a application from Melissa and Matt Meyerhoff at 58 Lakeshore Drive for the installation of 2 culverts for Circle Drive. And Bryce's recommendation would be to approve.
He didn't tell me anything, I was just handed that.
Oh, okay.
Just the messenger.
Well, he didn't sign it.
Where are you putting that in?
Oh, there it is.
So, just to give you an idea, you can see it, there's a culvert underneath. So this, if you're familiar with my sister's house, there's a porch on the front. That is what the protrusion you can see there where the house would be. So we will be to the north of the house primarily.
This is the house.
Without
out here where the-
vacant
So the vacant lot is actually to the north of that yet. So that's why we're doing it. The driveway is actually for 59, not for 58 that exists. There is no driveway for 58 currently. The only discussion that Bryce and I had is he said that we don't like 6-inch pipes
Mhm.
because they tend to plug. There's about 1,000 square feet of drainage that goes through there, and I did look at it, we could put an 8-inch pipe and still get the fill that we need,
Okay.
so.
And I'm gonna back up, Bryce did approve it, I just was looking at the
Okay.
worksheet. So Bryce has approved
You're gonna do it all? You're putting it in?
Yeah, he did say something about they normally provide one culvert, so if he's gonna provide me a 14-inch culvert for the other end, great. The thing would be, he never did.
We don't do that.
He said,
We don't provide Of course, now he's coming down to 58, 59, which wasn't, it was a lot. It did have.
Well, it was two separate lots.
Yeah, now.
59.
Two separate lots, but
59 has a driveway, 58 does not.
58 don't have.
I've got it in the application.
I thought we were just installing now on culverts.
Yeah, installing.
Yeah,
You get
wasn't the
one.
landowner gonna pay for the culvert?
That was I went down there and said, we just want to do it, and he said, well, normally we provide the two. I said, you want to do that, go for it. So my initial thought was that we would provide the twos. So
Yeah.
you'll get no complaints from me if that's what you do.
Yeah.
Because that was my initial understanding, and I may have misunderstood what he said. So,
Well, it's about like, it's one per field, and he's going back to one per lot, is what he.
Right.
That's how he's
So
getting to
that's what it is, it's
Yeah.
for that
Yeah.
address.
Mhm.
So it is the drive for that address, so it would be provided.
okay.
One culvert.
One, yes. Yeah, not both, one.
If it'd be an additional one, then it's,
Yeah, and at the circle drive, I'd already found a source for a 6-inch pipe.
Yeah.
So if you guys want, or Bryce wants an 8,
Yeah.
we'll find one.
yeah.
So,
It's tough to come up with, especially in that situation. That lot is gone, and I mean, the house is gone now, and you're taking all the utilities out of it. Through some of this stuff on this, we heard that you was taking the utilities out.
There's all kinds of rumors about what I'm doing with that
Yeah.
lot that are all untrue.
Well, I do not doubt that.
I'm going to have a discussion with the improvement district about potentially disconnecting the water, which is already disconnected, so that I don't have that portion of the bill for something I'll never use.
You got $60 a month you're paying now.
But not disconnect the grinder, because if you disconnect the grinder, it's like $7,000 to get hooked back up if they have capacity. So
You don't want
my
to
sister will not be giving the extra grinder that is not used out. So it's not being used, but it's there, so if you take it out, it's $7,000 at least to get it put back in.
Right.
So, but yeah, there's lots of rumors about that lot.
Well, thanks for clarifying that, now we've got the right, so.
Yeah. Yeah.
We need a patio bar there, so we can sit and look at the lake.
It's more a garden party.
Garden party.
It's more my.
I would move to approve permit number 22-5 for installation of culverts, 58 Lakeshore Drive. Second by Commissioner Crowfoot, discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Motion carried 4-0.
Okay, thank you. I'm gonna go get a little girl from school.
Just right on time, aren't you?
That's right, have a great day.
You
Thank
too.
you. Okay. Next, we have fuel bids.
I'll make a motion to approve the low bid from MFA oil, $28,694.70.
I do a motion from Commissioner Becker, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Galkey. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed nay. Motion carried 4-0. What else do you have, Bryce?
I didn't answer to that, I was like, what? That is all of the information that I was handed.
Okay.
So I think we're,
I heard the county attorney is available,
yes,
if you'd want to come down.
okay.
When's diesel gonna come down? I just can't figure that don't make any sense. Diesel stays up, but it's a byproduct of gas, gas keeps dropping.
Well, even earlier.
I think there's something political.
So much higher.
Yeah, it never did drop.
You guys all should come visit my office after the meeting. Have something fun.
I've seen the preview, it is definitely worth your time. But it's my invitation only.
That's right. They're calling in to come on down.
Great, appreciate that. Didn't really know you started. I think the only thing we have left is the potential litigation. Very good. Stand and stretch. Working on us.
Taking a break?
Until the attorney gets here. And there's really no use to recess, but we'll just lights we have that problem. That's good.
Interesting.
Hi, Joel.
Hello.
Come on in.
Thank you. Thank you for seeing me.
Long day?
Not yet.
Not
It's
yet?
getting there. Oh, no, and just talking with staff, talking about like our space, and I don't know, I guess just to come put where our position is.
Yes.
So that space is definitely too small for where we are. The one that's across the street, I mean, where planning and zoning currently is, could possibly work. It wouldn't be ideal, I think, for coming and going to court. I guess the one that where planning and zoning is going, or the plan for her, I feel like would be better suited for our office, given the amount of people that we have versus what they have. Whenever I came in here, that was maybe a year ago or whatever, whenever they were going and talking about our space versus that space over there, and you guys were not gonna be doing rent on the current one. And I said, well, their need is more than our need, because they need to have the space with the sink and all that stuff, and so they need that more than we need a sink. And so that was really, I think, my intent there, was saying that space is better suited for them because that's what they need and we don't need that. But it wasn't about the room or anything like that. I mean, yes, getting rid of the books and things like that is obviously, would free up some space, allow us to organize a whole heck of a lot better than what we are right now. But I mean, to me, that would not be a final resolution
Not
for the
long-term.
county attorney's office. Long-term, that space is definitely too small for what we've got for the 4 people to be in there. I don't know if, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, I don't know if there's 4 people that are in closer quarters than where we are.
We close.
All friends, huh?
Yes, I've rolled over Caitlin 3 times today.
But that's just what I wanted to come, I guess, put that out there, where we are, what I feel like our needs are.
Do you, so across the road, you really don't feel would work for your space? This would work better, is what you're communicating.
Would that space across the street be better than what we currently have? Yes.
Gotcha.
Would it be ideal? No. But, and I honestly don't even know if it would be better. I mean, just with trying to go to court and do that thing and take files across the street and do that sort of thing. Hopefully, in a year, I won't be taking like that many files across the street. It'll be more digital, but as of right now, it'd be.
Why is planning and zoning moving at all from where they're at?
Well, it was a progression. First, it was the process of moving from a building where we were paying rent, and then there was a commission change, and the thought process changed that building was for sale, its proximity to the courthouse. It frees up some options. So correct me if I'm wrong, but that was kind of the progression.
Well, on top of that, even if it's storage, it's pretty cheap storage compared to what we're looking at building costs now. I mean, the building costs are just astronomical.
No, I get that. I just wondered why they were continuing to move when the county purchased it. Why would they even move? Why wouldn't they just stay where they're at? I'm not.
Because the building in my books is a piece of junk.
Okay, so you're thinking it's not a good building?
Go over there and sit there, and they have to, you're wearing a sweater today for probably, I don't know, but they have problems with the heat and cooling, and it's a cement block building. But access to this area, that's another reason. So if that building fell down and went away, maybe another building could be put up that was very usable, heatable, cooling, all that.
Okay.
So I think that's another reason why I voted to buy it.
Well, no, I'm not, I wouldn't question why you're buying it. I was just curious why they would even want to move when they did.
This is a much better space. That space does have some issues. And even if you would use it, it would have to have some serious upgrades. So it's all the moving parts.
And I know that there are a lot
But-
of moving parts and
But
trying
we
to get
needed
people
your,
where,
need your input.
where they wanna be or where
Right,
they need to be in
right.
the appropriate space. I mean, I get it's not a elephant balls in the air to try to juggle those and put people where the best suited. And last time I suited.
That's what- Each time we meet, we get another
Another
If
spinning
you
plate.
moved, would you retain that space so you have a vault or whatever?
We don't really need a vault.
You don't need a vault.
For any, I mean, we need to have, a space that's not accessed by the public or another entity or something, so we can keep our files secure, but it doesn't have to be a vault.
So you need to be in the building?
I would like to, I mean, the county attorney position is gonna be here long after I'm gone. So for the county attorney position, I think whoever's going to be here would wanna be in the courthouse.
I mean,
that's,
we're just so limited by what we can do in this old building.
yeah. And I get that, and would I ideally wanna stay in the building? Yes, absolutely. But I think the county attorney office needs more space.
Or at least on the same side of the street.
Or, I mean, it's a closer proximity, but like I said, I mean, how I work, I can make anything work, but that's just
You gotta have space.
kinda how I.
You're first.
Well, every time you wanna have a conference with somebody that you don't want somebody hearing, you have to go find a room. Upstairs, if there's one available, they'll let you have it. But you've gotta check with the clerk to see if you can go in there and have a conference. And that's one issue, is that you're not able to have those confidential meetings for sure, because,
You don't have space. I mean,
Right.
you know, in your office, you don't have any place. Only if we kicked you out of there, they can have a little closed office.
you know what?
in there.
I've been trying to get out of there for 26 years, and for some reason,
And they'll be, yeah, no, we don't want that.
Oh, okay.
I'm the loudest one, so probably everybody can hear me all the way through the courthouse, but that's something that,
But reality is, you guys don't have the space. I mean, that's reality.
My hope in the short term was getting books and storage out of it would help. But again, that's just a short term solution in the long term.
I think it would just help not have so much stuff on top of everything else.
Yeah.
it's probably a matter of time before somebody breaks their neck on stuff that's.
If everything was removed from the vault and another door cut go into the north side of the vault, would that?
Into the bathroom? Would that be into the
No.
bathroom?
No, it would be coming into where the.
Be convenient for me, I don't know how
Because
Joel
when you
would
walk
feel
in the
about
door,
it.
right, the walls is the vault wall, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
okay,
Yeah.
yeah, that would be the bathroom, it's your wall there.
Yeah.
He gets to hear the toilet flush all the time.
Yeah. I don't know how
Yeah.
big that space is once everything was out of there. I didn't know there's enough. for an
Well, we've
office
got
in there.
file cabinets in there,
Do you?
Yeah, and that's where we have a lot of our.
That's your
and there
file
is
cabinet.
no more room for any more file cabinets, and then we've got some in my office.
But you're going digital, aren't you?
Hopefully, if we could get this purchased in about a year, is when they can fit us in.
Over the years, I've probably been in 40 or 50% of the county attorney's offices in the state. There's no question that these guys absolutely set a record for the smallest space I have ever seen a county attorney's office functioning out of in any county, even western Kansas.
So that brings up the issue, there's no way we can keep them in the building.
Pretty tough. Oh, I mean, I would agree with Joel that it's really
There's a
better
way.
if they're in the building. I can't
There's no
imagine,
way.
you know,
Well,
rain
yeah.
and stuff having to
There's a way.
trudge
There's
across.
a way.
There's a way, Ken.
There, if-
Somebody's gonna have to go, somebody else is gonna have to go out.
If you
Well,
move-
that's what I mean, but.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you move road and bridge.
Yep.
to another
Yeah.
facility.
Now, the county attorney has been down there before,
Okay,
in Road and Bridge,
okay.
and they moved from Road and Bridge. There was only 2 people at the time and a part-time person.
So why'd you let them do that?
I think they had one
That's a good
office
question.
inside the vault, so I don't, it wasn't, that wasn't ideal either, but they didn't have across the way either access to them, it
Oh,
was
it's
just
just
that.
the one space.
Just the one space
Right,
that
right, right.
Road and Bridge
But
was
if he
in.
would have both spaces, would
Yeah.
that possibly work?
I would think so, would you think so? We wouldn't have a sink, we don't need a sink on city.
Karen, since you brought it up, that one little space right down underneath us over here, got one little, you could be back in that corner. and
Hey.
Wouldn't hear nothing.
Soundproof booth all around me, soundproof wall.
Unless we heard you up here.
You might, you close the vent.
Tina, would you have some insight?
Not at this time.
Okay.
And I mean, just having like an office with two separate
Yes.
places would be, would present challenges in trying to work amongst the office. It would, I think it would be more difficult than I would want it to be to make that work. I mean, trying to, I have a question for Karen, I mean, calling her, I mean, it's
You just yell.
so much of asking quick questions and that sort of thing that it, I think would make it difficult to do, more time consuming to do that.
Then it's probably not feasible to.
You know, calling back and forth.
Yeah.
And a tube like the
And I
bank
think I can
has.
see something to get used to, but it's,
like
Intercom
it's
on
a-
your phone.
yep, and we got those. But, so no, I appreciate taking the time.
Did you have anything to say about the,
So the prosecutor by Carpel, I think I had a misunderstanding when I talked to him about how the payment worked.
Uh-huh.
That was upfront. So the contract that we have. And I didn't know if the commission wanted to look at the contract before signing it, you want me to sign it, how you guys wanted to do that, if everybody needs to
What are
sign
we
before
signing?
it's just the agreement for changing our system. I mean, the amount hasn't changed, just when and what's due, is different than what we had discussed. It's less now, more later. And I'm trying to find that exact one here.
As long as the total amount didn't change.
The total amount did not change, did not change.
no, but you had to do 4,000 something ahead at the sign-on.
Right, and we had talked about.
And then the
doing
balance.
More like 20,000 and 20,000 or something, you know, half and half.
Right, and that isn't how it's gonna go. They only want 4,000 something to start, I believe.
But is it all gonna come out of this year's budget? Is it all
So it would be,
finished?
part of it come out of this, a small portion come out of this year's budget,
And
and
the
then
rest.
next year,
Mhm.
in August it was gonna be the remainder of it. And so that would be I don't know whether that's better or worse, or.
Depends on how you budgeted for next year.
I have a budget, well, it would come out of, that'd be 2024's budget, because it would be
Oh.
after the July, it'd be from the July 24 to 25 would be, right? Could be a year from now. Yeah, be in the August of 2023 when the remainder would come due, so that would be for,
That's the 23 budget.
23.
That's the
23.
We're
yeah.
at January to December.
right. We do January?
January, June.
Okay.
It's for the legislature.
We set the budget in.
So I think his question is whether the board wants to approve and sign the contract, or whether you want him to authorize him to do
Right.
it.
We generally, something like that is generally done by department.
Most of the time, the board signs those kind of contracts, or, I mean, if you wanted to authorize him to do that, that's fine too, it doesn't matter.
Does the commission want to sign and approve the contract, or they want to delegate that to the county attorney?
We've all in the past approved the fiscal side of it, the department head side.
Okay. Does that sound good? Will that work? Okay.
Okay.
So we need to get him on board in order to get us in line for next
Right.
season, to get us in.
Okay, so the board consensus is that the county attorney will sign the
Yes.
agreement. Okay.
Yes. Okay.
That's all I've got.
If you have an idea for us, let us know.
Okay, I will. And, yeah, I appreciate the time.
Thanks.
Tina, was we not gonna take some out of sales tax for that? Is this the same? Is that what we was doing?
Yes,
I think
that's
that's what it
what
was,
you
yeah.
said.
Yeah.
But it wouldn't be to the end, I would think you'd wanna contribute, right?
Right.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
Two.
All right, how long would you like?
15 minutes.
I move that we recess into executive session in order to discuss potential litigation pursuant to KSA 75-4319B. Item 2, consultation with our attorney-client privilege with Commissioner Brad. Would you like to?
She doesn't have to be on this
And
one.
Commissioner Brad, you said 15 minutes.
Mhm.
3:37 to 3:52. Is there a second?
Second. Kent got it.
Kent got it?
Yeah.
Commissioner Becker, all in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Motion carried. We'll be back at 3:52.
We're still in session?
This conference will now be recorded.
I was gonna check and see what happened.
Okay. Bye.
We are out of executive session. No decisions made. I believe that concludes the agenda. Are there any commission comments?
Today we was presented this slate with the attorney here. Space. And it's not new, guys. It's new. It's been this way a long time. When we was looking to build that building over there, we dozed that down and put something in between here. I don't know if you doze that down or whether you just go out in the parking lot, move the parking lot out and put a building up, or whether you come over here where the old jail is or was and do something, but space. I mean, it's just one of our problems that we're fighting as a commission to take care of our departments. And,
Build a 3-story building out here.
well, I don't know, whatever. The deal we had with the courtroom, where we wanted the prisoners to come up through go to the courtroom, we was moving the courtroom over here. And the basement was the jail, and it'd come right up from that, right up into the courtroom without ever seeing the public and stuff. That project was $7 million.
No, that would have been terribly expensive.
Yeah, it just way out of, we put too much over there, but we was doing a heck of a lot. And, yeah, so, I don't know, space, that's a big issue.
And unfortunately, it's not just one department, three departments.
No, you're right, yeah.
All of them.
Yeah.
So, point well made.
Oh, you just put a mobile unit out here on the old jail spot.
Yeah.
Connex with some spray foam inside of it, and, a little bit of those little units, those Mitsubishi units
Get a couple.
for heating and cooling.
Yeah, just use shipping containers.
I'm not sure, you think of those as being cheap, and I'm sure that's not a
Not anymore.
cheap deal anymore, but I mean, it's just, every time I see an estimate of a building or a renovation or just, I can't even I'm so far off that it's ridiculous.
Makes you want to go build a house, doesn't it?
Yeah.
All right, but you're
My
thinking
wife would be
that's
living in a tent, I'm afraid.
till next week and see what we come up with. With that, if there's nothing else, I move to adjourn.
I'll second it.
Second by 3 commissioners. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried.
I chose Commissioner Crowfoot
Very
because that's
good.
who I heard.
Okay. Thank you.
I heard him before I did.